Recently, I've been trying to get in better shape by hitting the gym and making better food decisions and all those things that make a person generally healthier, but the most important thing is staying hydrated. Hydration is one of, if not the most important things to living a healthier and better life, and Liquid IV is your best ticket to achieving that goal. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, which is pretty significant. I really enjoy Liquid IV because it's easy to take. It's easy to take with you, which makes it super convenient, whether it's after the gym or if I need to pick me up in the morning after a night out or just a boost of hydration while I'm at work. Staying hydrated is so much easier for me because of Liquid IV, and I think it can do the exact same thing for you. Also, if you're worried about the flavors, don't be. They've got strawberry lemonade and lemon lime, which are some of my favorites, and they are very good, but they got plenty of other flavors, so you'll find something you like for sure. So if you want to start getting and staying more hydrated, you should try some Liquid IV. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code BADMOVIE at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code BADMOVIE at liquidiv.com.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you some breaking news. There's been reports all over the area of something crazy going on, something big. People's homes, their minds even, are being taken over by something called, what is it they're calling it? They're calling it Bad Movie Debate.
What up, nerds? How's it going? We back with Bad Movie Debate. It's me, Jacob Babb, your boy, you already know, and we got...
What up, nerds? Fellow nerd, Zac Castle in the house.
Hell yeah. So happy we were able to do this in person.
Dude, I am stoked to be here.
Yeah,
this is fun.
Like, that
this
was
be a
like,
blast.
you were like, we should do it. And you were like, and I was like, yeah, like we should definitely do one. And then you were like, I'm actually going to be in town next week or so. And I was like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, it's
We're
awesome.
like,
It's not something we kind of like kick the can or like, we're going to get to it or whatever. It's just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Hey, I think this is actually going to work out like next week if you're
I know.
down.
I was like, can you do Thursday? Like anytime? And you were
so
like,
if you want to watch some trashy movie
Yeah.
a couple times real quick and then we can talk about it and let's make it happen.
And we good to go. Oh yeah. I forgot that was there. My little
Knocking the Mando helmet with my elbow. Dope.
Hell yeah. So we're here. We're going to do it. We're going to talk about let's say, interesting movie.
Yeah,
to
really
say the least.
Kind of an anomaly of a movie.
Yeah, it's odd.
That has a lot of people feeling a lot of different ways about it.
Yeah.
A lot of negative ways if you have read on the internet. But I think as you'll hear from myself today, some positive things too.
There are some positive things.
It really is
yes.
just a film that makes you go, this exists?
Yeah.
Which I think is a neat factor of a film.
Yes. 100%.
So,
I remember when it first came out, or like I first heard about it, I was like super excited. I was like, oh my God, look at all these people.
yeah, you see
like,
the
and
commercial,
it's a comedy.
like, no way.
And you see the trailer, you're like, no way. Yeah, you're like, there's no way. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way this could work. And like, it kind of does.
It
like,
kind of
there's
does.
there's moments where it
was
definitely
also one of
works.
those things you'd see the trailer for it, and you'd be like, I feel like I should be hearing more about
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Like,
because
why is no one
of all the
talking about
names
this?
attached
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
So, without further ado, you guys are probably wondering, well, what is this film that
fucking
they
movie?
are discussing? What is today's topic and subject? And it is the 2013 film Movie 43.
Movie 43, and it's something. Again, I don't know what else to say.
It is
dude.
truly something.
It's
So to give a little backstory on this
tee
film,
this up.
yeah,
Tee this
I want to
up.
tee this up for us. So movie 43 was released at the very beginning of 2013 in January. This is a film that is the brainchild or the brain product of a producer named Charles B. Wessler. And I'd have to do a deep dive to see what else he might be attached to. But this is something that I guess he had kind of cooked up in his mind of something he wanted to do that was just absolutely off the wall. And originally he had a few other people and partners with him writing this idea of creating a newer version of that film Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh yeah,
Which is something I've always heard about, but I've never
Yeah.
seen. It's a little out of my date as far as like, I don't think it's anything we would have grown up on, but a film that is essentially a bunch of shorts put together.
Yeah.
With really crazy ideas. So they wanted to put together this absolutely absurd film. And originally it had some other names attached to it, like Matt Stone, Trey Parker from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from South Park were originally
I didn't know
some of the
that they were
writers
attached to it at some point.
And in the initial pitch process, there's like 2 or 3 other directing partners who were part of this, and they had some good names attached to it, but they really just could not nail the pitch. They were pitching it to different studios, like, we want to make this absurd film. It's mostly just going to be these shorts. We're going to have a different director for each short. We're going to get these big names attached to it.
I like stuff like that when it's like you bring in a different crew and like a different director. Like
I like a good anthology style film
exactly.
too.
Like those are usually always a lot of fun, regardless.
You don't get bored because everything is just a little segment here and there. And it allows for a variety of different acts within the film to exist. So anyways, they kind of pitched this film for a few years and it was not getting anywhere. Trey and Matt fell off. I think some of the other names fell off. But this Charles B. Wessler guy was passionate about it and believed in it and pursued, and was able to convince, I think the story goes that he met Hugh Jackman at a wedding. And was able to have a great connection with Hugh Jackman and convince Hugh to star in the first short that they were going to film for this project, which I'm sure we'll get to the shorts here in a moment. Very ridiculous setup. He was like, that's something I have never done before. It's completely different from all my other roles. I'm down. And they filmed the short with Kate Winslet and Hugh Jackman to pitch to others. And when they had those names attached to it, they started to pick up a little more traction. And Charles also had a strategy of like, I don't care how long this film takes. I'm going to film this movie on the lowest budget with the biggest names I possibly can. Doing just like single day films for like union wages, and getting people just to do these roles that are just so absurd and different from things they were normally doing that they agreed to them. Now, some people's like agents had a little bit more foresight, and some people, I think, like I know George Clooney's name is like mentioned that like they tried to get, and they're just like, you don't need to do this.
Don't do this. Don't do this, please.
I believe it took 4 years for them to do, and filming all over the place, flying out to New York to film with Richard Gere, all this stuff. But they were successfully able to put together this, like I said earlier, anomaly of a film.
So I looked him up. He was Charles Wessler, right?
Yeah.
So he was a producer on Dumb and Dumber. There's Something About Mary, Me, Myself, and Irene, Shallow Hal, The Heartbreak Kid, Hall Pass, all before movie 43. Like,
nice.
So like
that's a pretty solid track record.
Pretty solid comedy track record already. So
he knew comedy chops. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Now the interesting thing about this film is there are 2 edits of this film. There's what's known as the like kind of domestic edit and the international edit. And how you feel about this film really comes down to which edit you saw. Now the shorts are the same in both of the films, and some of those are stronger than the others. Some are really funny, and some are like really good on paper. Like you'd read like, that's a pretty good idea, and executed okay, but at least on paper, like pretty funny ideas. But it's the in between and the setups for these films that are the short films that really make you feel one way or the other about it. And the original edit, I think, is the one that is now known as the international edit, is the one that people really hate.
Yeah, they do not like this one.
It is what has garnered, I believe, that 4% on Rotten Tomatoes, which we selected this film because we wanted a real stinker. And if you guys look at the reviews for this, which I'm sure we're going to get to as well, they are not kind.
Choice reviews.
They are not kind at all to this film. But I think it totally depends on which edit you saw. If you saw the original one, it kind of takes place in a like suburban household. There are some kids who are trying to upload a YouTube video, and like the younger brother pranks one of them, and then they're like trying to get back at this brother for his original prank, and then it just becomes like this super ridiculous,
and they're like
very like F-list style movie that you're like, this is terrible.
They're like trying to find movie 43, like they're trying to find this banned movie.
They're like the like younger brother who they're trying to get back to on a prank is like a super tech genius little kid who's like able to hack like government agencies and things like that, and they're like telling him that this movie exists that will like completely change your life if you see it. It's like The Ring, but in a good way. Like, get to watch this whole film, you'll be rewarded with treasures and glory. And so it's just like this prank that they're pulling on him. But he like starts hacking away and starts pulling up like all these clips, which are in, of course, the short films that they're broadcasting the film in both edits, and then somehow like links up with like, I guess it's supposed to be some sort of like Soviet mobster, and then the Japanese mob gets involved, and then they get like a message from the future of being like, quit looking for movie 43. If you do, it's gonna like end the world. It gets really, really silly, really, really dumb. It is a little interesting though too, because like, in contrast to the short films, which were all individual directors and I'm sure individual production shoots based on the fact that it was 4 years to film. But you've got like a short film that's got Halle Berry in it. You've got a short film that's got, Hugh Jackman in it. And then to have this like in between with like kind of these like no names, that feels very just like teen Nick Disney Channel-esque, but trying to be like edgier.
I mean, it
does feel contrasting.
Just the premise of that one sounds not as good as like the Dennis Quaid one you're about to lay out. Like
now,
it's just
the setup for what became, I guess, the secondary edit of the film that they re-released or
the
was
one
put
that they
out
should have released in the first place
is a much sillier concept, and it has bigger names attached to it, right?
But it works so much better.
It works great. It does work much better.
Hilarious.
It sets up the absurdity of these short films in a way that makes it cohesive, but also not at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they're not cohesive. It just makes
Exactly.
the absurdity better. And of course, it's like a super at his ends Dennis Quaid, who is trying to desperately pitch
Real
this
quick,
film.
can we just talk about his entire outfit and his hair?
Dude, it's so good. He's got like the Bieber like
the
2010
Bieber cut,
yeah, like this swoopy hair.
Swoopy hair, jean jacket with like the sweatshirt sleeves like on it, like black and white striped shirt.
Yeah.
Like he looks like a fucking like little 14-year-old emo punk like with Bieber hair. Like
It totally adds to the like.
but he's playing Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
He's playing himself.
But he's playing Dennis Quaid, who is pitching this movie to Greg Kinnear, who's
worked
playing
in years, man.
Greg Kinnear, who plays like a high up at a studio. And he's pitching these ideas to Greg, and he's saying this is going to be this great film. It's going to be cross-generational. Everyone's going to love it. It's going to be a little bit of something for everyone. And he doesn't really even know what he's pitching. I think he's doing it off the cuff.
Definitely.
But
He has a
those
notepad.
in-between scenes are pretty great. I'm a big fan of Greg Kinnear.
Yeah,
then
he's
they like
always
have to
good.
go and talk to like, I think Dennis Quaid ends up holding Greg Kinnear hostage to
Yeah.
try to get the film made.
Oh, yeah.
They have to go see the high up at the studio, which is common.
Which is common. Yeah, which I had completely forgotten about that part when I
I'd
was
forgotten
watching it
that
last
too.
night. I was like, it's fucking common. And they're having a meeting with Seth MacFarlane.
Seth
having a
MacFarlane,
meeting
and
with
then
Seth
I think
MacFarlane.
like Will Sasso plays like the security
yeah.
guard.
Oh my god,
The
dude.
cast for that in between film on the secondary edit is a very good cast.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
awesome.
When you're like,
Yeah.
it's Dennis Quaid, Greg Kinnear, Common, Will Sasso, Seth MacFarlane. You're like, that's pretty solid.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And that one is just even more ridiculous. They're like, they have to go see Common when he's holding Greg Kinnear hostage to get the film made. And then Common's like, you can make any film you want. You're an exec here. Like,
exactly. Like, yo, you don't have to come in here and ask me every
gotta
single
be a
time.
man. Like, I cheat on your wife, and the next day you show up for work early. Like,
that had me rolling.
he's like talking all this trash to him, and then they like break the fourth wall, and it
Oh
becomes
my God,
even
yeah, at
more
the very
ridiculous.
end,
Like,
yeah.
Common like ends up shooting Greg Kinnear, and like the bullets hit, and then the sound
Yeah,
effects
the
are like
fucking-
3
yeah,
seconds
the
later.
blood bag doesn't
And
go off right. Yeah.
they like break the fourth wall, and they're like, in this film supposed to be all about just like short films anyways, like let's just like roll the last
Yo,
short.
we got one more, right? Like, just fucking roll it.
And that edit is, like I said, it is very self-aware, very tongue-in-cheek, that
Yeah.
it like sets up for like a pretty like fun watch.
Yeah, I
in my
love
opinion.
the breaking of the fourth wall. As soon as they're like cut, Dennis Quaid is like, "Can someone give me paper towels? I have such bad swamp ass in these fucking pants." Like, they're self-aware about his outfit. Like at the very end, like it's so much better than like some kids trying to find
Yeah.
some movie online and like the people from the future come and stop
Yeah.
them from doing it.
And
Like,
I'm pretty sure in the kid edit too, like they do end up like the world ends and they like find this laptop and he's like, "Can I like go back and erase this protocol?" And it like teases them that he can. And it's like, you can't do it. You can't reverse all this, but you can watch this short film.
you can watch this short film real quick and
So.
it'll be fine. Yeah, like nah. This
So
is
yeah, A crazy lore behind this whole film. The two edits having kind of very subjective outcomes of like you're gonna feel one way or the other about them.
absolutely yeah.
Really kind of set this thing up to get torn apart by critics to not be treated very kindly by the
it
reviews.
is rough.
So.
It's rough. Thank you for that backstory, because this one definitely needs some backstory.
It does,
because like I feel like a lot of people who like hear this like who haven't seen it are gonna be like, they're gonna be like, all these people are in this movie and it's got that much hate and stuff, and it's like, well, once you see it, you'll kind of understand more, because of the two edits. The two edits is like, it's crazy. If they just done the Dennis Quaid one, I think we could have hit your goal of 51.
I think so. I think if that is all you know to be the film, which was to be fair, the first edit I saw of that film, I'm like,
that's the first. I've only seen that one. I thought I had seen the other one, but I couldn't find it, and I was like, maybe I didn't, because I wouldn't have gone digging. I didn't even know there was a second edit too. You told me when we were talking about it, and I was like, they probably swept that under the rug real hard, because you said you had to find it like online.
I did. I had to do some searching.
Like,
I definitely accidentally rented the same one a couple times.
Me too. I did that too. Yeah, like thinking I was doing it right. No.
Shout out Plex. You have some real long ad runs in between the good content of your films, but you provide the bad edit of this film for me for free. So shouts out Plex.
Shouts out. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Everybody use it. Go for it. All right, so we're going to take a step back real quick. And like, now that we know what this movie is and how it came to fruition, we're going to go over this is just, there's not a lot of like sketch comedy, like skit comedy movies. So we're just doing top 5 comedies. That, like
it's hard to find a comparison
the first 5
for this film.
That came to your mind. Like, that's what I did. I was like, what are the first 5?
I was thinking about it. If I had to compare
like,
this film to like others, at least in tone, it is similar maybe to like, if you like some of the like scary movies, or then there was like the offshoots of like
epic movie,
and all that,
or
like there's like a superhero movie one,
disaster
I think, that, like,
movie,
Drake Bell in it, and
what's the one?
It kind of has that tonal quality.
What's the one with where they do the 300? Oh, We Are Spartans.
Meet the Spartans or something like that.
Oh my god, dude, that one was
kind of has that tonal quality, or it also has the same feel and energy as like the shorts that they will make for like before or during the MTV Movie Awards.
Yes. Oh my god,
it's one big movie that is just all those
just
setups.
Like, as you you have to see these skits and it's a whole piece together. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. All right, so what's your top 5 comedy?
All right, so top 5 comedies, that's a big one, right? And there's so many good comedy films, which is a shame because I feel like they've really kind of stopped making a lot of comedies.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, it's like dramedy at most. I feel like
or dark comedy, which I love some good dark comedy.
Yeah, there's plenty of good dark comedy out there these days.
Trying to pick more true comedies. It made me reflect and realize, like, I think we might have grown up on like maybe the best time for comedy. Like, we had enough of like stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s that we got to appreciate. There is plenty of people coming out of the 90s who are still like comedic figures and leads. Jim Carrey, and folks
of course,
like that. Then we've got like the early 2000s, which some of those comedies like don't age as well. Like, you go back like, oh, I can't laugh at that anymore. Like, that's not funny.
At the time, that was fucking hilarious. But now it's like, that shouldn't have been funny in the first place.
And like now, like, anyone's just like afraid to do anything. Comedy-wise. I think there's that one that came out, the Jennifer Lawrence one that came out in like the last year.
No Hard Feelings.
Yeah. Other than that, like, there's been very few, and if they are, they're probably just like studio releases on direct to streaming.
Yeah, there's lots of good comedy shows that are coming out.
I was able to think of like a bunch of those.
Yeah, but, comedy shows have been good like since day one, but like movies, you're completely correct about that. I agree.
So for my list, instead of kind of coming up with 5 independent films, I did select 5 films, but they're more like encompassing of like either a certain director or like a group of actors who commonly make films together.
Yeah.
So like I've chosen a champion for like each of their camps, if you will.
Yeah.
But also, for number 5,
also real quick, I want to shout out Michael LePage. You handwritten notes, just like Michael.
Handwritten notes.
Thank you and Michael are the only two who have done handwritten notes. Everybody else has got their phone or a tablet or something. Hell yeah.
Started the podcast off by saying fellow nerd here, right?
Yeah,
I'm all about the little pen to paper
shout out Michael LePage. Fuck you, Michael.
Sure,
Just kidding. I love you, Michael.
One love, Mike. One of my oldest friends in the whole world.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
So anyways, my list starts with number 5. I wanted to show off my like cool, edgy side. I'm very artsy. I like to think highly of myself when it comes to culture and creative things. But it is What We Do in the Shadows.
Hell yes, dude.
I wanted to throw Taika a bone.
big old bone. Yes, dude.
I think this film perfectly encapsulates that New Zealand dry wit humor.
Oh my god, yes.
It is
I
just
fucking love that
wonderfully
movie.
charming.
Yeah.
It also encapsulates the like mockumentary
Yes,
style
it is a
comedy, which I wanted
fantastic
to. I was like trying to
mockumentary,
think.
yeah.
There's like some really good mockumentary style comedies out there, like
Oh, yeah.
Big Win, Spinal Tap, like The Best in Show.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
one that's like
Best in
Mascots
Show.
or
Oh, my
something.
God, yeah.
But I really like that. Obviously, there is TV shows set up that style. The Office, Parks and Rec. I love the
What We Do in the
mockumentary
Shadows,
style.
the
Yeah,
show,
What We Do in the Shadows. Exactly.
Which is a lot better than I thought it was going to be when they first
It's great,
announced it. It's
yeah.
really good.
It's
Yeah, final
fantastic.
season's coming out soon.
And great cast. So
Yes.
I that is kind of like the encompassing for kind of that art house style independent. Number 4, being a child of the 90s, I had to pick a Sandler film to put on the list.
Fair.
And that one was tough, but I think Happy Gilmore is probably my top
I would
Sandler
say
pick.
Happy Gilmore is probably
There's
my
a
top.
lot of good ones,
Adam
and
Sandler.
there's a few you could say that I'm like, that's a good choice.
Yeah, Billy
but
Madison's up there
Billy
for
Madison,
sure. But
Waterboy, yeah.
But like, no, dude.
But Happy Gilmore's
Happy
just got so many
Gilmore.
good components. The like
R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
Ben Stiller as the like, nursing home worker.
Yes, dude. Yeah, just
The like young Julie Bowen, Bob Barker. Like there's
my
just so many great components to that one. So Happy Gilmore is kind of my Sandler placeholder or
Yeah.
champion for that. Number 3, I wrote 2 titles because I couldn't pick, but this would be for the Rogan camp, if you will.
Oh, yeah, the Judd
So I've got
Apatow Rogan.
Pineapple Express, and then I also have 40-Year-Old Virgin written.
Nice, okay,
Because I
yeah.
really could not pick. Both of them have so many great like one-liners.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I almost put Pineapple Express on there because like that one's just so hard. And I was thinking about
It's great.
41-Year-Old Virgin because like,
40-Year-Old
it's just
Virgin.
so
I mean,
classic,
the Paul
dude.
Rudd, Steve Carell, Seth Rogen. I mean, fantastic lineup there.
Yeah, you can't beat
I
that.
also really love Danny McBride and Pineapple Express. Like
Dude,
he's my
he
favorite part of
is
that
so
film, and his
freaking funny,
lines.
dude.
Like,
yeah, just this is the tiny gun I used when I was a prostitute. When the montage of them getting ready to go
Yeah.
like blow up everything,
He's
like
fantastic. He
so
doesn't
absurd.
miss for me. So.
makes me more aerodynamic when I fight. Like
Yep.
just the way he delivers every line in
Trying
that
to get
movie.
scholarship.
It's so fucking dumb.
Eating
and the
nerds,
best.
bro. Yeah, just everything he says in that film.
incredible.
The fact that like you think he dies and he like comes back to life. You're like, yeah, I lost a lot of blood.
A lot of blood. Like,
Like laughing about it in the diner. So I had to pick a film from them. There's quite a few you can choose from. A lot of
yeah,
good ones. So.
absolutely.
Number 2, I also wanted to flex the artsy thing again, but I am a ginormous Wes Anderson fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I do really, really, really love the dry wit and humor. I like humor that doesn't dumb down itself for the audience.
No, yeah.
And as pretentious and annoying as it is, be like, I love Wes Anderson and all that. I do really appreciate that wittiness. And so for me, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Dude, Fantastic Mr. Fox
is a top contender.
Dude, I know people are always like Life Aquatic, which is incredible, Grand Budapest, which is incredible, but Fantastic Mr. Fox, when it comes to like just the dry wit humor, just like going and going and
It's
going
great.
and going. That's the one that
the
just
whole like what the
is-
cuss.
Exactly.
I
What
think
the
there's just a lot of
cuss,
layers
dude.
there. It's like one of those like the more you rewatch, you like pick up
Yeah,
on.
I feel like that one's
And I appreciate
more
a film
thought
that
out.
rewards you, like,
weird
more
as it is-
times, yeah.
As weird as to say is like this Wes Anderson movie is more thought out than the other ones because
Yeah.
they're all very well thought out. I think that one just like hits just like every single thing.
and they're all great,
Like,
right? You're
yeah.
gonna see Jason Schwartzman be witty and funny, and
God,
you
yeah.
know whether I
Anytime.
chose Rushmore or Life Aquatic or Grand Budapest or Midnight Kingdom or but
Darling
Fantastic
Angel.
Mr. Fox
I love it.
is my number 1 for Wes
I
Anderson.
completely
And
agree with that.
I just-
Yeah, that shit is so good.
Beautiful. And then number 1 for my list of comedies. This is to me just like the comfort food of comedies for me, and I think it just came out at the perfect time when I was probably like 13, 14. I had the dumbest sense of humor, but it's gonna be Step Brothers.
Yes.
I don't know if any film.
Nice.
I mean, Anchorman is probably the closest comparison, but as far as
Yeah.
just like the most quotable film growing
Absolutely,
up,
dude.
it's one of those things. Like if I see it's
Absolutely.
on TV, I'm gonna sit down and watch the rest
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
It is that the most comfortable sweater or whatever have you that like
Like, yeah,
it makes me feel good.
Cold,
So
hot,
silly, yeah.
raining, clear. Like if it's on, like you might as well
You know,
just
came out
watch
probably
a
like
few
2008. However many years now later, I still laugh
Yeah,
at it.
just
It's just, and you know that will encompass the Farrell camp, the John C. Reilly camp, so Walk
Yeah.
Hard and Talladega Nights and all those films. I love Other Guys, all great.
Dude, The Other Guys is such a good one. That was a sleeper one
And
too.
Adam McKay too, right? Adam McKay is a fantastic comedy director. Fantastic director.
Yeah, just in general.
but does do the comedy thing
Yeah.
pretty well, and,
Oh, yeah.
and so
Dude, yeah.
hard to create a top 5 list. But I think as those kind of being the champions for maybe like I said, kind of different camps of comedy. That's my list.
Yeah. So I appreciate you going and having like a specific reason for why you put every single one on your list. I just first 5 comedies that
Boom.
came to my
There
mind
you
that I
go.
was like, I love these movies.
Hey,
I've
and-
rewatched. These are the ones I've rewatched probably.
And that
the
probably
most.
means more, right? You're just like, these 5
Like,
came to me.
Like these are the ones that came to me. These are the ones that I rewatched the most. Like, and I'm not in any particular order. It's too hard for me to do particular orders when I do these lists. So just first one that came to my mind, Superbad.
Yep.
Like super bad. So that would be the Judd Apatow, Seth Rogen, and stuff. Like, love that he wrote that
So
movie when he was in high school and he was gonna play Jonah Hill's character, but then he was like, I can't. I'm old now, and it's finally happening. And like, but like Jonah Hill and Michael Cera playing opposite each other in that situation, like you can't get better.
Perfect
than that.
casting.
Like it's across the board.
Another
McLovin.
film with just like so many great one-liners.
Oh God, just
all the
like-
right people casted for like the smaller roles and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Bill
Just
Hader
like-
being the other cop.
Being the other
with Seth
cop,
Rogen.
dude.
Just
Yes, dude, and they're just
so good.
maniacal, dude. I fucking love it. And then I got one here. I love this movie so much. Hot Fuzz, dude. Hot Fuzz. Everybody says Shaun of the Dead is the best out of the Coronado trilogy because it's Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then The World's End.
Yep.
And like everybody kind of agrees that The World's End is like good, but like not as good as the other two. But there's a heavy debate between Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and I am in the Hot Fuzz camp, dude.
Okay.
I just think it is so much funnier, especially because like, it's a British comedy,
Right.
and the way that they're able to do like a spoof on action movies and still have the most ridiculous gunfights because they don't have guns over there like we do. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to get guns
Yeah.
over there. It's like, so put it in the country where everybody held on to their guns and then we'll just have a 30-minute shootout to like end this movie, and it's just like so perfect and
I
it
gotta
all makes
revisit that
sense.
one.
Like,
I'm pretty sure. So I've seen it, but it was like
oh, dude.
on Comedy Central when I was in middle school or something like that. I need to give it the proper
You gotta
treatment.
give it the proper like stream like watch like so you can just like because like I mean it's British comedy, so there's lots of bad words in it, lots of fucks, a couple c words in there at like appropriately funny times.
Yeah.
It's like it's a hard word
I think
to
I
hear,
heard
but like it works.
maybe Neil mentioned it on his list for like when y'all were coming up with action comedies or something. So I'm like, I gotta go back and rewatch that one. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Honestly, just watch all 3 of them. Like those are they're all good. Next one, this is kind of a comfort food for me one. My dad and I are both super big Coen Brothers fans. Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Like Big Lebowski. We were just talking about No Country for Old Men the other day. And so like this one came to mind. It's like, God, Big Lebowski, dude. Like you just can't. Jeff Bridges, man, the dude. You just can't beat the dude. Fucking oh my God, why am I blank? John Goodman.
Oh yeah.
What does this have to do with fucking Vietnam? Like, just the entire Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi.
like just getting like, shut up,
yeah.
Donnie.
Film is fantastic. Coen Brothers also don't miss.
Yeah,
Tons
like,
of cultural.
just everything about
Phenomenal
it. Like,
that came from that movie,
Fucking,
so.
I can't ever remember the actor's name, but the guy who plays the Jesus and stuff.
Right.
Like
He's got like a spin-off too. They,
yeah, the
like,
Jesus Rolls is the name of the movie. And he like that guy. He directed it like with like their blessing. Like he's like they're like yeah, fuck
Like
it.
20
Make a
years
whole-
later, let's
make
see,
a whole
yeah.
movie about
Sure.
the Jesus and stuff. Like it's amazing. Special shout out to Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Like love that movie, but I feel that's more of like an epic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would agree.
Like,
Right. It's supposed to be like
'cause
the Odyssey,
yeah,
right?
it's based
So-
off of a graphic novel of the Odyssey that
Yeah.
the Coen brothers read and really loved. So they're
Coen
like,
Brothers
let's do
also
it.
have a anthology film, right? Buster Scruggs, Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
amazing.
So,
yeah, and you get oh my God, the dude from Oh Brother, Delmar. You get Delmar
Yeah.
and Buster Scruggs, which is amazing. So yeah, Big Lebowski, huge fucking fan.
Tim Blake Nelson.
Tim Blake
yeah.
Nelson. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I was like, I know he's like a 3-part name.
Yeah.
And then this one I watch every single Halloween time. Like I have to, no matter what. Excuse me. Young Frankenstein.
Okay.
Mel
Yeah.
Brooks, man.
Yeah,
It's his best one. All of his
That's a
movies
solid.
are good, but like Young Frankenstein is just like The whole fucking Dr. Frankenstein bit is hilarious. The putting on the Ritz, like dance, like
something about a film that
here
like
we
can
go.
stand up to time too. Like,
like-
I was trying to decide if I needed like a Monty Python on the list,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
It's
or
like
like
you
an
could-
airplane on the list. Like
airplane crossed my mind.
I was trying to be a little bit more true to just like, you know, I'm 30 years old, born in
Be true to yourself.
1993.
Be
like,
true to yourself.
So,
you know,
but,
yeah. Another one
that's
my
a great
dad
one.
raised me on was
Yeah.
like, he's like, oh, you're into spooky
like
stuff. I'm
Vacation, does that deserve?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm
Like-
sure all these things deserve to be on it.
Oh yeah, but I'm like
Trading
7
places.
years old. My dad's like, oh, you like spooky shit? You gotta watch this movie and like watch it every fucking Halloween. Just the fucking love the story that like, so you know the part where he's like walk this way and he like uses the cane to get on the steps and then he hands him the cane and he does that. Aerosmith saw the movie, loved that bit, loved the words "walk this way." That's what made the song happen.
That's
Wrote the song
the true
because
story
they loved
behind that song.
Yes, which it gets even crazier because then they re-released it with Run DMC doing which made like doing the verses and stuff, which made rap into the mainstream pop culture, and now we have rap music as like some of the best music that's constantly been coming out for the past 30 years and stuff.
Boom.
Like, and like you can argue like Run DMC doing with Aerosmith that at the time like made a bunch of people who had never heard of rap because they weren't in New York or LA at the time. Like, what do you mean there's this whole other kind of genre of music? Like everybody knew it at this point, which is
No Travis Scott
wild.
without
Exactly. Yeah.
Frankenstein.
So thank
So
you.
you're welcome.
So thank you, Mel Brooks. We appreciate you. And then finally, this one is always true and dear to my heart. Every time Austin and I move, we watch this movie. We order pizza. We like do all the moving. Everybody else that helped us leaves. We order a pizza. And I watch the entire movie. Austin watches as much of it as she can before she falls asleep, as it were. Had a long day, 21 Jump Street. We watch it every single time we move into a new house, like a new home. Like, we're like, all right, we're moving. Pizza, 21 Jump Street. And then we
That one's
unpack
fun.
the next day, Like,
I like that one. That's a good one. I haven't
that
seen
movie.
the second one, I don't think, all the way through, but
the second one's
kind of
funny.
has enough cameos in it, enough like
Yeah.
supporting cast. And
The second one's great just because they at the end credits they get all the way up to like 58 Jump Street, and it's like doing like here's all the different kind of spin-offs, and like at one point Jonah Hill leaves the franchise and gets recast as someone else, and then he comes back like 10 movies later to like revitalize it and stuff. Like they're like nun school, like culinary school.
I do like the Jonah Hill Channing Tatum pair up. I think they're a good combo.
Fucking amazing.
Like, who else is
playing
like? Is it Brie
opposite.
Larson that's in that movie
Yeah,
too?
yeah,
And,
and then oh my
James
No, Dave Franco.
Dave Franco. Yeah.
And then Rob Riggle
Yeah.
plays the coach and stuff. Like, oh my god, yeah, that one just like
With
it just cracks
the Johnny
cracks us
Depp
up.
cameo.
The Johnny Depp cameo. And we're like, oh, you guys are Jump Street? We started on Jump
Right.
Street because like that's him and the guy from the TV show, like his partner. Like they're like, oh, you guys
Played
Jump Street?
saxophone at my daughter's wedding.
and then just immediately get just destroyed. Like, it's amazing.
That's a good one. That's one of those,
cracks
like,
me up.
I think how you describe it is that you put on pizza, it's just kind of that feel good comfort. too, as
Exactly.
well,
It was
so.
just like, it's just like, all right, like it's for us, it's like we're moved in.
Yeah.
We'll unpack tomorrow. We did it. Like,
Yep.
we're sitting on the floor. Like, it's like couches, like our new couches in here. We already got rid of the other one. We're sitting in lawn chairs in the living room. Like, exactly what we did when we moved into this place. Like, amazing.
Nice.
All right. So we both obviously know comedy movies pretty well at this point, I would say, which makes this movie 43, an interesting one. Because you're saying it's good.
I am here to argue that
here to
this
argue.
film it's not bad. It's not great. It's no work of art, but it does deserve a better score than what Rotten Tomatoes,
4%?
IMDb.
It's
Yeah, I
pretty
mean, 4% is pretty low.
Yeah.
You're pretty hard pressed to find films with lower scores.
Yeah, less than 10
So-
is usually an anomaly.
Yeah. And even with the terrible edit, I do think that this
Yeah.
film does deserve a better score than that.
Because of the skits.
Because of the skits.
The skits.
So the skits are all written and directed independently from each other. And there's some pretty decent names attached to some of the sketches.
There's
So
some
like
good stuff going on.
James Gunn directs
Yeah, like
one of the
James Gunn
sketches.
directed one of them.
Elizabeth Banks directs one of the sketches. She's
Yeah.
in a different sketch.
Yeah, she acts in one,
I
directs
think
a different
Bob
one.
Odenkirk directs one of the
Yeah.
sketches. So like some names you guys will recognize,
names.
and definitely some actors you recognize.
Yeah, it's
And the skits vary, right? There's some good, some
some don't hit, some
great.
hit really good.
But some are really good, and I definitely
Yeah.
laughed out loud to a couple things. But
Yeah.
this film deserves at least a 51% rating, in my opinion.
I think I'm already kind of leaning towards you, but it's hard to do that with looking at the 4% Rotten Tomatoes and the audience 24. It's pretty rough.
I get it. I guess we all watch the same film,
Yeah.
maybe, or
maybe
the same short films.
Yeah, the same short films, which is what it's like. That's the meat of it, you know.
But
So.
this thing is such a one-off. The fact that it
Yeah.
exists, the fact that you've got all these big names doing these like super absurd, ridiculous things, I think really adds to this. Like, no, this is not going to be nominated for anything. No one is
No.
going to be like, that's their best performance.
Yeah.
But is this something you can put on like a Friday or Saturday night with a group of friends? Be
Yeah.
like, have y'all seen this?
Oh,
You
yeah.
haven't? Holy crap! Buckle up.
Yeah, have a
You're
couple,
gonna
have a couple drinks ready to go and just like
do
ride it
whatever
through.
makes you feel fun and
Yeah,
silly, and you're gonna have a
exactly.
good time watching it, and you're
Exactly.
gonna laugh. And like I said, some of these sketches
Not bad.
really do kind of sit with you.
They do.
I remember when I first watched the film a few years back. The Jeremy Allen White and Liev Schreiber and Naomi Watts one. Like
That's
that
who
one
it is.
sticks with you.
Okay, I was like, who is this fucking kid right
Yeah.
now? And like, I was like, I know I've seen his face everywhere recently.
Yep.
That on it.
So it's
that,
Jeremy Allen White before.
that blows my fucking
Yeah.
mind. That was
I think
him.
it came out before Shameless, before
Oh
any of
yeah,
that.
this is
So
definitely
it's
before
like a pretty
Shameless.
young
Yeah.
Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah,
but-
he plays a teenage kid.
Yeah.
You know, like real quick, IMDb 4.3. Pretty low. Metacritic, their like critic score 18, user 3.2. So we're all swinging and missing. Everybody score wise.
I will
was
say this,
not
we
having a
made the
good time.
comparison earlier to those films that are like the Meet the Spartans, what have you.
Yeah.
Like based on some of the things I've seen from those films, which I don't know if I've like watched one from start to finish. Like they're pretty hard.
I've seen
this
a
film
good
was
bit of
better
those.
than those.
I would
like,
say
I
this
think,
film's better
Like
than
you
those,
still get
yeah.
like a short film with like Johnny Knoxville and Sean William Scott doing
Yeah.
silly shit with Gerard Butler
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
leprechaun. Like the size of the names attached to this, and the fact that each short film is no longer than like 5 or 6 minutes each,
Yeah,
like
tops.
makes it very digestible. And like this is silly. So
Exactly. All right, before we get into the meat of our conversation, two reviews, good and bad.
All right.
and then we'll hit it. All right, so the good review, the one of two on Rotten Tomatoes, says this is from Michael O'Sullivan for the Washington Post. He said, quote, "Movie 43 is a near masterpiece of tastelessness. The anthology of 12 short, interconnected skits elevates the art form of gross-out comedy to a new height," end quote.
I think that's fair, right?
Which is a very nice way
Yeah.
to put it,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Like, and like, he's not, I don't think he's wrong, you know?
right. He kind of like in the nice way says like it's kind of that like car crash thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna be able to look away.
Yeah, you
per
can't
se.
look away, dude. Like, you just can't look away.
Yeah.
And then the bad review, which again there was lots of them. There was lots of those. Richard Roper for the Chicago Sun Times. He said, "Quote: Movie 43 is the Citizen Kane of awful," end quote. Which like that was.
I mean,
there was again a lot of bad ones. That one was the one that was just the most like brutal. It's like, damn, dude. Like,
yeah.
Citizen Kane's like, quote unquote, the best movie ever made and
So they
stuff.
say, you know.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
so they say, like, and you're just so this is the worst movie
I'm
that's
just
ever
like,
been made. Like,
I've seen worse movies. So
I've definitely seen worse movies than this one. Like, no
and
doubt
I think
in my
that's where I'm
mind.
like, is 4% the score it deserves? Like I've seen some pretty trash films that probably have higher ratings that probably are more
oh,
deserving of that 4%.
absolutely. The one that Neil and I did, fucking Ghosted, has a higher rating than 4%, and like it's like I think it's like 20, like something.
Yeah.
But like, and we both were like, by the end of it, you're like, ugh, like God, like what a waste of time. I had more fun watching this than I had watching Ghosted.
And that's
You know
the
what I
argument,
mean?
right? It's like, is this a work of art? No.
No.
Is this a film people are going to talk about because of people's performances or they did a really great job? No. But are people going to feel like, I'm not upset that I watched it. Like, it's a
Yeah.
unique enough thing that I'm like, that exists? That's real?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. All right, so let's just go ahead and get into. Can we just get into this first skit? Because
Yeah.
my favorite part
Yeah.
of the entire fucking movie is in the first skit. It's so subtle, but it's so fucking funny. Tee up what the premise of this first skit is for me.
All right, so the skit starts, and it is Kate Winslet getting ready for a date.
Amazing.
She's been set up for a date through her
a blind
friends
date.
with someone who is a successful entrepreneur or something. Hugh Jackman's character is some sort of
he's like
notable figure. He's
some
on like
notable-
magazine covers and things
which
like
I
that.
thought was hilarious. He's on the cover of Gotham magazine. So it's like, so this takes place in the Batman universe. Like, it's like,
perfect.
this is
Somehow
him on
I
the
missed
Gotham
that, but
universe.
that's amazing.
I
So-
was rolling. I was like, all right, I was like, I remember this skit. This is
Oh, that's
amazing.
a fantastic new layer.
Like, it's
So they're in Gotham.
apparently
They're going on a date, nice restaurant, and I guess in all of Hugh Jackman's PR and all of his photo shoots and things like that, he usually dons a scarf,
Yeah,
some
in
sort
the
of
in the pic, he's wearing a turtleneck.
bow tie,
so
turtleneck,
you can't see.
Sure, it's like the classic Steve Jobs look or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it is revealed when they get to the restaurant, and they're actually like comparing scarves. I think, being like, it's so
Yeah.
nice, all this, whatever. That Hugh Jackman has got a pair of testicles on his neck, and we're just talking like a straight up ball sack hanging on his neck. To which Kate Winslet is horrified.
Immediately horrified.
Immediately just super off-put, as one might be if you were all of a sudden surprised with someone having a ball neck. And she just cannot keep it together. She is trying to focus on this date. They are talking about their childhood, all sorts of things.
All sorts of shit.
She starts asking them, like, were you ever like bullied or teased for anything when you were a little kid? And I forget what he like mentions at first, like something else, like kids used to make fun of me
a
for
stutter.
a stutter.
For like
That's
the first
it.
9 years of his life, and she's like, okay.
And then she's like, was there like maybe like anything else? He's like, oh yeah, like you're probably talking about my neck, right? And he's like, I got like a small scar there when I was a little kid.
and he has to lift,
he lifts
the testicles
up to show like a
scar.
small like tiny scar. It's
Tiny,
like,
like,
kids used to be so
nonchalant
mean.
scar.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, kids are so mean. Like,
So
oh my god.
they're on this date, balls are out. They're
Yeah.
doing all the tropes that you think they would do in a situation like that, where like all of a sudden like, man, is it kind of like chilly in here? And like they shrivel up on his
throat.
neck.
Yeah, like, oh my god.
They do fun shit where like they bring out like soup like for starters, and
God.
somehow they like fall into the soup.
Yeah. Yeah, like,
They run into like Hugh Jackman's friends who are like super adamant about like getting a photo of this like first date going on. It's just a very
Give her a kiss
absurd-
on the forehead.
Yeah. The fact that Hugh Jackman was like, "You want me to do what? Have some balls
Yeah,
on my
the
neck?"
fact that exactly. I'm so glad you mentioned that lore at the beginning. The fact that Charles, whatever his last name is, like he pitched to Hugh Jackman first
Yeah.
this skit, and he was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
And that's
This
what made
is
the
the
rest
skit
of
that
it.
made the movie.
This
Like
is the
without
skit
this
that made
skit,
the
none of
movie.
the
Yeah,
others
the
would have
first skit.
come about. So
And it's just like, it's just so ridiculous. But my favorite thing in the entire movie, it's so subtle, and like only the boys out there will understand. There's a moment where he scratches his neck testicles and he just like sniffs his hand real quick. It's just like he go like scratch, like so subtle, like mid conversation, just like, and it's just like, I don't need to go into it. I don't need to explain it, boys. You get it. Like you get the quick check. Like, and it's just like so fucking funny because it's so subtle. Because she's like trying to talk to him, and I just think it's so ridiculously funny. Like I do not know why.
something that
He went so hard. He
I
went
also
so
love
hard
the,
for it.
He did. He didn't have to go that hard, and he did. I was trying to like, because this was the first one filmed, and it did take 4 years to put this film out.
Yeah.
So like that would have been circa like 2008. Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman. I'm like, what was he filming at that
Yeah,
time?
what was he doing? Yeah, like
I'm sure like a X-Men was
yeah,
in
but like,
production.
I think like one of the last
But-
X-Men probably and stuff, like another, or like the Wolverine standalone or something. That's so
I also
fucking
love that he
funny.
orders, or like, so at this restaurant, they're on a date, right? And
Yeah.
clearly Hugh Jackman's character goes to this restaurant often. The whole staff knows him.
Oh, they adore it.
They're like super into him.
Here's
Kate
a
Winslet's
4-course
like, does
meal
no one
plan.
notice the ball sack
Yeah,
on his
like,
neck?
she
She's like
keeps-
so perplexed that no one is like
She keeps like,
aware of this. And
staring
she's
at
like,
the
yeah,
waiter
trying
and,
to be
like,
like,
scratching her
someone
neck.
affirm with me that you also see
We're
this.
like, this is happening, right? And they're all just like, looking at her like, I have no idea what you're talking about, ma'am. Like, I
But
can't.
I love the fact that they bring him out like a bottle of vodka, like and present it like wine. He's just like, oh yes, just like this is what we'll be having.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, they're like your usual. And
usual?
He's like,
Oh,
is that
yes.
okay with you? Would you prefer wine? And she's like, no, I need it.
Yeah,
like,
she's like,
and
actually, strong liquor sounds great.
and
So.
she's like trying to throw it back, and he keeps being like, cheers to like and stuff. And she's like, please just let me take this shot. Like, and it's just, I get that. It's just like, which is funny though, because it's like blind date, bad blind date, like I don't know, it's like it's funny and like it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's never been that bad, but then we got.
I don't know. Have you ever been on a bad date and you're just like, there's just that one thing.
There's just that one thing. Exactly. Well, that's why I love.
They were awesome. No, their family seems great. They've got a great job. They got hobbies, but they got a ball sack on their neck.
Yeah, like I can't do it. Like that's why I love. We cut back. We cut back to Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
And the producer, the exec, is like, I thought you wanted to make a movie with heart, is the first thing he says. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, this actually happened to a friend of mine. And he's like, no, it did not. And he was like, well, something similar. And it's like, yeah, like everybody's had a bad first date like that. So like that one, like I get why that was like the first one done, like the first one
they needed
that they had in their mind.
You're like, we already got Kate Winslet, we got Hugh Jackman attached to this.
Exactly, like that one actually has like something behind it. Like there's something. It's not just surface level like shock value, gross out humor. Like that one actually like has like some like taking a bad date to the extreme. Like, and so I really, really, really love that one. Like, especially just the fucking, just like it cuts right back and it's just dude. And he's just like, I thought you wanted to make a movie with heart. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, come on. Like,
and if I'm not mistaken, like they're kind of talking like, what are you talking about? Well, it happened to a buddy of mine, something similar. He's like, well, like I want to make a film that's like for the whole family.
Yeah, like I want to make him later when he's like, I haven't even told you about the Oscar nom stuff yet. Like, I can't remember which one he teased that up with.
Yeah, he like cues it up, and this is where we go into sketch 2, which for me is the standout sketch. I think
as soon as this one popped up, I was like, I cannot believe I forgot this one.
This is like, one that is good humor. Like this is like despite what it's in, and oddly enough, like I looked up the director, and he hasn't really like done too much. And to be honestly, I think the funniest sketch in the movie.
Yeah, I was like, I need more.
Was Surprise. Like he just does like some one-offs here and there.
Fucking Naomi Watts.
But yeah, this one's called Homeschooled, and the setup for this one is there are two couples in a living room, and there's like a new couple that just moved to the neighborhood, and they're like the couple that is the established couple living there, the family is hosting them. And they're like, yeah, we actually homeschool our kid.
Yeah.
He's upstairs doing homework right now, and they're like, wait, he's homeschooled, but he's doing homework, and they're like, yeah, we actually, in like a very serious tone, like want to give him just the most real, authentic high school experience possible.
And this is the one with Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah, so Jeremy Allen White plays the child. Naomi Watts is the mom. Liev Schreiber is the father. And the setup is they are giving him a legitimate high school experience full of all the shame and embarrassment and terrible things that happen common in high school movie tropes. So like instantly they're just like, yeah, we want to make sure that he hates his life as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like he has like the most normal experience.
At one point she's like the first time he told us he wanted to die was 12 years old. Most kids don't get to that level of self-loathing until 15, so we're really proud of him. He's very advanced.
They use like some big word, like not prolific, but something along those lines. Like he's
very advanced, like for his age, and they're just, and like this new couple is just horrified. And but then like all the cuts to all the ways they bully him.
I don't know the order of them that they do, but they've got like, obviously they're like teasing him, and they like graffiti like the like kitchen door to call him pejoratives, and they're like are walking down the stairs and like smash his books.
Yeah,
out
she's
of his
like, get out of the way,
like,
fuckface. Like his mom.
This is his mom. They're like, is the scene where like Liev Schreiber like opens up the like showers, like, oh, you got weird pubes, man.
Hey
like,
guys, come in here. This guy's got weird pubes.
So there's like all the embarrassment. There's like him in class, and his like mom gives him back the paper. It's like F, like you got to redo this.
Like,
got to be written in black ink, not green or black, and like calls him like the wrong name. He's like, that's not my name.
He's like, what's detention?
Yeah,
like disrespecting me. My favorite, I think one of my favorite ones is the one where they're having the house party.
Oh, yeah.
And he like knocks on the door and she like his mom answers and is like, yeah, like, and he's like, can I come in, please? And she's like, well, Stephanie, like, who you asked out is here. And, like, it'd just be really awkward if you came in. So, like, I think it's going to be a no. Like, sorry, you can't come in. And
it cuts to Liev Schreiber, like, grinding super hard.
Dancing up on a girl. And, like, Naomi Watts just goes back to, like, partying and stuff. And he's just standing outside, like I just want to go to my room. I just want to go to my room at this point. Like,
and then, of course, I think the pinnacle of the sketch is them, like, and we got to give him, like, all the most, like, awkward moments, right? Like the first kiss.
Amazing, dude.
Just so awkward. I'm just like the
his mom.
So and so and so. So I think we should go all the way.
And he's just.
But they do the cut with the mom, and then they also
inside.
do the cut with the dad, where Liev Schreiber's like, "Hey, don't tell the other fellas, but like, I think you're a cool dude, and like." I'm not saying I'm into guys, but if I were, like, you'd be the kind of guy I'm into.
No, it's like first heterosexual experience, first homosexual like testing, like seeing what's going on. And
so they do
the entire time. He's just like Jeremy Allen White's just dead
just
inside.
Dead, looks
like
dead.
There's a reason why my boy got a Golden Globe.
Yeah.
like there's a reason why.
They've kind of been holding off to give it to him.
Like,
you know, they've been wanting to from this moment.
Yeah, like he looks so incredible in this entire thing.
And then all the cuts, they go back to the couple that they're hosting, and they're just kind of looking mortified based on what they're hearing of this homeschool experience. And they're like, actually, like, our son's here, Kevin's here, like, you guys want to meet him? He
like,
comes downstairs.
Like, yeah.
And he's like, they're like, hey, Kevin, these are the new neighbors. And he just gives this, like, super charming, delightful and she's like, oh, y'all moved into, like, the so-and-so's old house. Like, welcome to the neighborhood, guys.
He's lovely.
Like,
yeah. Oh, I'm going to go meet up and, like, do this. I'm going to go on a date. Like, I'm going to go on a movie with, like, Stacy or whatever the fuck.
And they're like, well, you just be sure to say hello to Stacy for us. At which point, Jeremy Allen White's character pulls out this, like, broomstick doll that has a taped-on picture of Naomi Watts' face on the doll. And they're like, yeah. Hey, Mrs. Miller. Like,
I'm a pretty girl.
Yeah. It's I'm sure this exists on YouTube. I'm sure you don't actually have to watch the whole film to see this sketch, but this sketch alone is
watch
worth
this sketch
watching.
At least. Like, yeah.
And the fact that Jeremy Allen White's gone on to be this huge star now, a huge TV star.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I know we also saw that Kevin Kline photo shoot like that he did.
Right.
We all saw that. This is like he did this first.
Yeah, he's shirtless in this sketch a couple times too. So,
it's fine.
But that one's just it was just the weirdness of all the awkwardness.
Yeah. So we start out with two really good ones.
Some super banger sketches. In between, I think there's even more of just the Greg Kinnear and Dennis Quaid silliness. It's like, what is this film you're
what the
pitching?
fuck
There's
are we talking
no way
about?
that we could ever
like,
make
we can't do this.
Which leads us to the third sketch, which has also got some big names attached to it.
Yep.
This one is called The Proposition, and it stars Chris Pratt and his wife at the time, Anna Faris.
Yep.
And this one is all about Anna Faris really wanting Chris Pratt to poop on her.
Yeah, it starts with they're like at a picnic and like he's like by himself and he like has the ring out because like he wants to propose.
Yeah.
And like he's gonna propose at this picnic. And then she shows up and is like, oh, I have to ask you something. It's like, oh, I have to ask you something too. Like, oh no, you go first. Like, oh, we'll say it at the same time. And he's like, will you marry me? And she's like, will you poop on me? And he's like, I'm sorry, what? like, so they talk about it and it's like, okay, I guess they're gonna do it and stuff. Because then we cut to the grill scene with
So
when he's
good.
talking to, I think his name is JB Smooth.
Is that the guy
is what his
from
name?
Curb?
Yeah. I think that's what his act like. I hope that's his real name, but I'm gonna say his acting name, like his stage name, is JB Smooth, and he's just giving him all this advice.
Oh yeah,
about,
he's like, oh, she wants you to poop on her. Here's what you gotta do.
Here's
and just
how
like,
you do it.
Yeah, has all the home
My
remedies.
favorite part of like that quick moment of this sketch is like one, the quick cut of her. She has an apron on that says "Bless this dump." First of all, which is amazing. And then while he's talking to him, he's like, "I just don't know like why she wants me to shit on her." And he was like, you don't shit on your fiance." And he says, I hate to say it, but it's so funny. He says, shitting is something you do to a whore. You poop on your fiance. And he's like, okay, damn. Like, because like that ties in.
And I was gonna say, it ties in.
Like,
It gets brought back
it's
up.
a horrible thing. It's a horrible sentence, but in the context of it, it's so fucking funny. Like, it's just like...
He drops a few good one-liners in that. I originally had it written down. I forget what he like says, like a two-shoot dookie. Like, so he's just like throwing out all these like terms.
He's like, what are you gonna eat? And he's like tuna steaks, nice salad, some red wine. He was like, nah, fuck that. Bean burrito. Like he's like it's not, it doesn't need to be fancy going in, it needs to be fancy coming out. And it's like, honestly, he's right. Like he's like, if you're doing this, he's not wrong.
That conversation ends and like I think he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, and he gave him
I'm gonna heed that advice.
And he was like, here you go. And he hands him some like
Pepto
Turbo
or
Lax.
something.
And he's like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, Viagra. For shit. And the guy next to him, there's a third guy there the entire time, and he's like, what the, you just carry that all the time? He's like, hell yeah, I do. And he's like, cookouts, like grill outs, you just have that. And like, as the scene's fading away, he's like, yeah, I have a problem with meat. Like, I eat meat, I need a little help getting it out of my system. Like, he is just so fucking funny. Like, he's like, his lines honestly make that whole skit.
That whole sketch.
The whole skit is pretty fucking good. But like, at the end of the day, I think this is where the gross out like
this is where
starts,
it like really starts getting to.
And then cut to him, Chris Pratt sitting on the toilet, shoving bean burritos and salad down his throat.
Just
like it's the night of. Just
you hear
like
the tummy rumbling.
yeah, you hear a couple stray farts, a couple like here and there and stuff, and he's like, "Oh God, here we go. I guess we're gonna do this." And then what does he do right before he leaves the bathroom? He drinks the entire bottle of Turbo Lax. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and drink some of this. But then he ends up drinking the entire bottle. Like, on a stomach full of bean burritos.
He's ready.
I appreciate that he got the salad to, like, get some roughage in there.
A little fiber.
Yeah, exactly. A little fiber.
And he's ready. He comes out of the bathroom.
It's so fucking
he wants
ridiculous.
to get to it because he's, like I said, he's sweating. He's rumbling. He's prairie dogging.
Oh, yeah.
And Anna Faris wants it to be a very sweet moment. You know, it's all about that foreplay, right? We can't just go straight to it.
Come on,
we
guys.
Foreplay's
Foreplay's important, guys.
We got to make sure the conditions are right. And she's like climbing all on top of him.
Yeah.
He's like super uncomfortable. Like, no, like please.
She's like, rub this lotion on my neck, and he's like, okay. And he just like slaps the back of her neck with it, and just like, okay, we're good. Like, please just let me do this.
And he's just super uncomfortable. And like finally, he's just like, come on, like please just let me shit on you or whatever. And she like is like, whoa, like she's super taken back, and that's where we go back to the callback of like, oh no, like shitting's what you do on someone that you don't care about, you don't love. Like the person you love, you poop on.
You poop on them. Yeah, she gets offended. She
So
runs
she
out of the
like
house.
super upset. Like she's like, I can't believe you'd say that. I thought you loved me. I thought this was gonna be a special. You're gonna be my first time. She like runs out the street. Chris Pratt's like following her, like, no, babe, like come back, or whatever. They like literally are out in the street, and then a taxi comes and hits Chris Pratt, and he flies in the air, and with that, poop flies in the air.
It's just
everywhere.
a bomb.
Yeah,
it's
just
a bomb.
like
All over the windshield, all over the street.
it rains poop. Splatters are all over.
It's a
Anna
lot.
Faris runs out to Chris Pratt. She's like, "Oh, baby, are you okay? Are you okay?" He like pulls out the ring. They have this beautiful moment. She's like, "Wait, was all of this for me? You said you made all this for me. It was gonna be for me." He's like, "Yeah, babe, this was all gonna be
I
for
love
you."
it. He's like, yeah, I guess so. Like, like he's like kind of impressed with how much came out of it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's an impressive amount.
I do love too the way she like turns to the taxi guy and she's like, "Call fucking ambulance now!"
Yeah.
like she's like. It's like it's so
Yeah,
very
call
like
911.
it's like so very like her like acting.
She's
and
great.
stuff.
I do miss her.
I love her.
And
yeah.
honestly, watching the sketch, it's like, man, I did like them together. It
makes
does make
me-
you a little.
It makes me want to go back and
you know?
watch some more watch Scary Movie again.
It does.
Like she's
so good.
like,
At that like kind of bimbo like
have you ever
airhead
seen
role.
Have you ever seen Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, her sidekick, she's like the pop star or whatever. She's so fucking good in that
She
movie.
is.
Austin loves that movie, and she finally made me watch it. And I was like, I don't love this movie, but I love her in this movie. And she was like, I'll take it. That's fair. Like that's good. So that's a skip.
So that's a skit.
And then we cut back to because I was trying to like keep the pace of it and stuff. Of like we cut back to the meeting, we cut back to the exec, and he's just like, it's just close up of him. This meeting is over, and he like gets up to call security. He's like, we're done here, like, I can't- and it's just so fucking funny, dude. And then we get the revelation. Not only do we get the revelation that the kid sitting next to Dennis Quaid is some busker that he hired $40 to come in there with him because he's like, I'm leaving. Give me $40. I'll mail it to you. You don't know my address. Just go. Like freaking out at him. We also learn how he gets inside of the building, and he's like, how did you even get this meeting and stuff? Quote, I sucked off the security guard. He's like, excuse me? And he's like, I didn't know Jerry was gay. And he's like, he's not. He's been through a lot today.
Jerry's had a big day.
He's had a big day, which is, it's just a quick little like, what the fuck is even happening right now? It's just like the Dennis Quaid stuff gets
plays
more,
into the factor of this
more
is Dennis
more
Quaid
chaotic.
saying he blew Will Sasso earlier in that day to get into this meeting. Yeah,
like it's just like. It just gets more and more chaotic.
This movie
the entire
exists.
time.
It's real.
And then, this is real. Like, we're not just like pitching this to each other. Like, this is a real thing you can watch. And then this is when he pulls out the gun.
Yeah.
And is like, okay, I'm gonna read you the next one. And the next one is
another super really good one.
Fucking sketch, dude. It's so fucking good.
So this one's got two people who have also gone on to just become even more famous.
One of them literally
Emma Stone might have been equally as famous. She's kind of been a superstar for over a decade now.
She's been there for a while. Yeah.
But Karen Culkin has definitely stepped it up.
Literally just won a Golden Globe.
Yeah.
Golden Globe winner, just like Jeremy Allen White. So we have 3 or 4 award-winning people already. And then Emma Stone. They're in this one together. She's up for Oscar right now for
she's
4
nominated
things.
again.
Like,
so
again, absolutely up. So she just won a Golden Globe for the movie she's up for an Oscar for. Like,
boom.
It's amazing. Please describe this one to me.
So this one is great. It's called Veronica.
Sensually.
Veronica. This scene starts with it is a supermarket, and you hear Karen Culkin, who is the associate at the store working the checkout line, over the intercom telling the good people of the store about all the specials they have going on.
Which the specials are like...
The specials are great. There's like a senior special for like lambskin condoms and box wine.
Yeah, it's prom night. It's like don't forget your prom night.
Senior prom night special.
Senior prom night special. Like all, and like as we're doing this, all the people in the store are old people.
Yeah, they're all old people,
which is hilarious.
You see like some funny sketches of like a really tall lady like getting down like a box of cereal for like a real short guy. Then like Karen Culkin's like continuing talking about the specials. He's like, we've got a special deal on vaginal cream. This is cream for your beef. Like he's just saying some like really outlandish things.
Yeah, ladies. Like this. Like,
and then all of a sudden you see a checkout basket slide in front of Karen Culkin aggressively, and they accuse Emma Stone. And it is clear that these two have got some sort of past.
They have.
There's tension there.
History.
There is tension. And I forget what exactly the first line is, but they both start going at it at each other. And you can tell that there's
he says like he says like, how's your something pretty nonchalant, and like I can't remember what it is, but then she's like, how's your HPV, and then he says, it's your HPV, I'm just carrying it for you. Like he's like, we've already had this debate. Like
chicken egg.
But then after they get done yelling at each other,
and they did well before that, you also realize he's like, how's Veronica? Like, she's fine, Veronica.
She's fine, Veronica.
She's like, I can't believe you named your dog Veronica. He's like, I can't believe you sucked off that hobo for magic beans.
He was
a wizard, Neil.
And the entire time,
and then so they're going at it, but then all of a sudden,
everybody in the store can hear this conversation.
And then it takes a turn, and then you can tell that's where that tension is. And Karen Culkin's like, I want to be in you. I want to be
sticking his finger in her
on
mouth.
you. I want to be all around your chin, and that's where it gets real sexy. And
it's real
Emma
sexy,
Stone
real
is kind of, you see her lip quiver. She's like, "Oh, Neil."
Yeah, the way they just go from anger to like I want to hit it real bad with you again is like.
Which
some
both
of the
actors
best
do
acting.
so good.
It's some of the best acting in the entire fucking
like Karen
movie.
Culkin's got like greasy long hair.
Like he looks
angsty teen. Yeah, looks so bad.
She looks great. He looks awful, to be honest. Like, oh my god. Dude.
And then they're going at it. They start making out. I'm pretty sure Karen Culkin's like, I wanna what is it? I want to give your
I
vagina a
want to give
hickey.
it. Yeah, I wrote it down.
To which, like,
I
yeah.
want to. What does he say? He says, "I want to give you a hickey on your vagina."
Yeah. To which Emma Stone kind of dramatically pulls back for a second and gets silent for a second. She goes, "Oh, Neil, you already have." And it's kind of like one of those frankly, darling, I don't give a damn, like Gone with the Wind type moments where like all of a sudden that tension's
Like,
gone
you
and they've
can
like called
feel
it
it.
like oh yeah, like all of a sudden
They
like
snap
oh
out
no,
of it.
the one that got away. And my favorite part of this whole sketch is they like break away or whatever, and she starts walking away and she goes, "I'll see you at church, Neil."
Church. I had that written down too.
And then he like gets super like, not if I see, and like it cuts off, like he gets super angry and doesn't quite say what he's gonna say. But that exchange of that, "I'll
Because
see you at church," and his like fiery response
Not
back.
if I, and then he's like, because like he's like, "Not if I," and then he's like, "Oh shit!" The intercom's on. And there's
Yeah.
all these old people just standing there
Yeah.
watching.
The
this
entire
whole thing
store
go
has been
down.
watching this conversation of hot tension going on.
Dude, it's honestly some of the most heated tension you could ever see in a movie.
Yeah.
And you got like, again, if you don't want to watch the entire movie, you got to watch this.
Yeah, this
skit.
is
like,
this is definitely one of the best sketches. I'd put it in the top 3
Yeah,
easily.
Homeschool,
I'm kind of
this
thinking
one,
Homeschool to Hugh
yeah,
Jackman and this
like-
one are the best.
Yeah. So far, we're hitting pretty good.
Yeah,
like,
the movie starts great.
Yeah.
It takes a lull here in a second.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get to it
But
for sure.
so the whole store is watching. Emma Stone's character just walked out, and then like an old man steps up, gets on the mic for the intercom, and is like, "Guys, I might not be an expert on love." But he's like giving this whole spiel. But he's like, "But what we witnessed tonight was hot and heavy and true passion. And I know if I was in his shoes, I would do. I think he's like, I would climb over Dick Mountain
I would
to
climb
like
over
a
Dick
hot piece of
Mountain.
ass."
I would climb over Dick Mountain,
Yeah.
open mouth,
Open mouth, yeah, yeah.
to get some
Where
of
she was
that
like,
hot
whoa.
ass again. Like, oh shit, bro.
And he gives this motivational speech, and he's just like, "Can we help this young man out?"
He's like,
He's
"What
just
time do you get off work?" It's like 5 a.m. She's like, "I'll take 2 to 4."
Yeah.
like I'll take.
And this
like,
cast of characters has been witnessing this speech going on, volunteers to cover his shift, so he can
Amazing.
go out and chase Veronica, his love.
amazing.
It's a really great sketch.
It's
They did nail this
honestly
one.
fucking incredible,
Yeah.
dude. Like, it's definitely one of my. It's
I
definitely.
think it's the best writing. It's definitely like the best
writing.
lines.
It's the
Yeah.
best writing for sure, and just like the acting is amazing.
Some of the premises
like,
for the other sketches are great, but as far as like the
yeah, but
one-liners
as far as like
and delivery
actually
of
like
lines,
hitting where we wanted to get, like this one might be the
Two
top
great
one.
actors
Yeah.
crushing
Like
it.
Homeschool's up there for me too, because I think they honestly just like Naomi Watson, Leaf Driver, just like the way they bully Jeremy Allen
Yeah, the
White.
premise
like,
of that
their
one is
child, like premise is
amazing.
amazing, and I think they hit it.
Yeah.
But this one just has a little extra something, you
Yeah.
know, that just like
both those characters have like this great comedic chemistry with each other and just
so
nail it. Of this kind of like greasy teenage couple that's super chaotic.
Oh
but-
yeah, it's amazing. So that one's amazing. You got to watch that one at least, and then
Yep.
we get a quick cut to the Eye Babe.
The Eye Babe. Yeah.
Just
so
a quick cut. Just a
Quick
quick
cut.
cut of the Eye Babe. We'll come back to the Eye
We're
Babe.
gonna come
later,
back to it. We
but-
kind of get like the commercial cut, if you will.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Which the setup for this one is it's a similar thing to like the old classic iPod commercials where you'd have people like dancing around.
they
on,
plug
like,
in their little
widescreens or
headphones, their
whatever,
wired
yeah.
headphones.
But
they're
the
dancing.
device instead of an iPod in this is a fully naked woman.
Yeah.
Who's
And
got
she
like
has
a,
like a little screen on her, like an iPod.
Yeah,
and,
like
the
a little wheel.
Remember the little scroller wheel back in the day with
I
the
do.
OG iPods?
They
like she's got one of those, like
have
right
games
around her
with the
belly
scrolling
button.
wheel where you
Yeah.
play like Brick Breaker and
Yeah,
control
exactly,
the
dude. Yeah. So you got one of those and a little screen, but it's on a completely nude woman, and apparently she plays music. It's not
Yeah.
a real woman. It's a device for playing music.
But it's a life size
Let's say
naked woman
life-size nude
device.
woman, and like
Yeah.
literally, they're dancing. You see that it's a life-size woman. They're dancing, and it cuts away.
Yeah, it's like,
That's
I
that. And then we come back to it.
Yeah,
but
we'll get back to it. Then number 6 is a real silly one.
This one's real silly.
Yeah.
I do have something special about this one for me.
This
Jason
one's
Sudeikis.
loaded
Jason
with people.
Sudeikis
Yeah.
playing Batman.
So this
is
one, the
best
premise of
thing
this
I've
one is
seen.
called superhero speed dating. It's just that. It is
It's
like
just that.
take the most like 1960s Adam West silly
Oh, yeah.
slapstick style Batman, Robin, all the superheroes, and it is like a speed dating setup.
But then put 20 like mid-aughts to 20 like 2015 vulgar comedy language.
For sure. So this
Inside of
one,
it.
you've got Jason Sudeikis playing Batman, Justin Long playing Robin.
Even better.
Uma Thurman playing Lois Lane, I believe. It's Bobby Kamal. Is that how you say his name? You recognize him. That's who plays Superman.
Superman, yeah.
And he's in a bunch of stuff.
Oh, he's incredible. He's actually in that movie, The Watcher, on or the TV show The Watcher with Naomi Watts. That's like a very serious like drama, like like mystery thriller drama.
He's great in
he's
everything
amazing.
I've seen him in.
Oh, he's always
You've
good.
got Kristen Bell playing Supergirl. You've got Leslie Bibb playing Wonder Woman. John Hodgman, if you might remember, the PC to Justin Long's Mac is in there playing the Penguin. it's pretty solid lineup of people.
Who plays the Riddler, or is that just some random guy?
I looked
I
it
feel
up,
like they
but
didn't, like I feel like I didn't get a good look.
it wasn't
at the
someone
Riddler.
who I'm like, this is a person that a lot of people know. But
Yeah, I didn't get like a good look at him. I will just say while you're trying to check that out, when so Robin's on the speed date, Batman shows up and he's like, hey, there's a bomb here, like somebody put a bomb here and stuff, and he's like, I'm just trying to speed date, like can I please just do one more? And he's like, okay, bet. And it's Lois Lane, and she's like, oh, Superman and I broke up, he was stalking me, I broke up with him and he was fucking stalking me, and I was just like sitting in my apartment, and there he was outside the window just floating, twirling his little fucking hair curl and masturbating. And he's like, Robin's like, oh my god. And she's like, yeah, his jizz is like a shotgun, it broke my window. And like that line, I was just like, what a sentence.
yeah,
like
it probably would be that way though, you know?
I don't think anybody has ever said
Has
that
anyone
sentence.
explored that side of Superman?
I don't know, because he shows up.
They probably have on the deep
Because like he shows up, because the Batman shows up and is like, oh, Lois, what's up? I'm gonna call Superman. And like, so obviously he's like, oh yeah, he's on a date with Robin right now. And he literally zooms out of nowhere, takes him into the bathroom and like holds him up and is like, stay away from Lois. And he's like, okay. And he's like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. I just want Lois. I can't wait to go back to like banging Lois. Like he like has like some hair gel in his hair. He's like he like slaps it in his face and he's like, fuck off, leave her alone. And
That's
like,
exactly right.
He's like, I'm just trying to find love, man. Like Justin Long being Robin on speed dating the entire time was just fucking amazing.
So
like,
Will Carlo is the name of the guy who played the Riddler. And,
Carlo.
you know, it doesn't look
Don't
like he's
recognize
done stuff that I'm like super familiar with.
Fair enough. Everybody else.
and
Oh,
it
he
kinda looks
doesn't
like-
even speak.
Yeah.
So I mean that
He's-
makes sense.
It just turns out, that Supergirl ends up being the Riddler after
Batman's like,
Batman
oh yeah,
makes
yeah, make
Robin
out
and-
with it.
yeah.
Give her, kiss it. Like, oh yeah, give her tongue, grab her butt, grab her boobies. Do it.
I did want to do a little side note on this, though. Looking at the IMDb, I did want to say that despite this movie having terrible ratings,
Yeah.
it was somewhat of a success
Yeah.
financially. So
Oh, yeah.
because of the way they shot it and the fact that they did it over the course of 4 years and doing just single day shoots to be able to
Yeah.
get these big actors on just smaller union wages.
Yeah.
It only had a budget of $6 million, and I think it like grossed somewhere around 32.4 million.
Wow.
So I mean, like it
Yeah,
did
like
great
from a
for
producer
its- yeah.
standpoint, that's a fucking success.
Yeah.
Like that is 100% a success. Like
So I'm sure that, you know, the producers and all them were like, you guys can care or say or write whatever you want
yeah,
about
do
this
whatever
film,
you want.
but
Like, I don't give a
we're
shit.
laughing at the bank.
Well, I think
so.
I saw something when I was doing I was trying to find the other edit because I couldn't find it on anything streaming, and I like came across one article that was talking about him, and I think I saw a quote from from Charles that said something along the lines of like, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was like, it was fun, we had fun, it made our money back and more, leave me alone. Like,
I mean,
like,
there's
you
no way
know,
that
like,
these like shoots weren't fun.
yeah, of course they were, dude. Like this
Like, yeah,
one
we're gonna get you to
specifically-
do. None of this is serious. You guys don't have to try to
That's what
like
I'm saying.
give the role of your
You're telling
lifetime.
me- you're
We literally
telling
just
me-
need your name attached to it.
You're telling me a scene where Robin is on a speed date and all these other heroes come up and Wonder Woman comes up and says, Batman, why didn't you call me when your bat condom broke? Do you know how embarrassing it is to go to the abortion clinic as Wonder Woman by yourself and stuff? And he's just like, you know, like,
Sorry about it.
like, I'm sorry, like trying to like play it off. And like, that's what he says. He's like, why did you make me make out with the Riddler? You knew it was him the entire time and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know. I woke up with a case of like
fuck arounds
Yeah,
or
the fuck
something like that.
arounds. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like just like, you know, like just kind of fucking around, having a good time today. Like Jason Sudeikis is Batman. Like I need an entire movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Him just doing that, like him just riffing just riffing off shit like he
It's
was
great.
doing for
It's
that
super
skit.
playful, super fun, and when you have a supporting cast like that,
It's just amazing. That
it's
one,
nothing that's like the best, most hilarious jokes, but it's, you know.
yeah, you don't need.
It'll make you smile.
If you're gonna watch the movie, you'll enjoy this. You don't need to go out of your way just to watch this one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like,
Probably the one that feels the most, I guess, SNL, just based on who's in it.
it's
and
definitely
just,
the
like,
most SNL.
yeah.
Like the plot, the like how quick it resolves and it's just over and stuff. Like, but with again like the gross out like comedy like vulgarness of like what they're saying, what they're talking about, like and everything. Oh, then we get another little quick ad break,
Another
right?
commercial, and
Another
this one is, I think, really funny.
This one, I was watching it and I was like, "Is there more to this?" And then it ended, and I was like, "Nope, that's genius."
Because this one just sounds like a real stupid concept that
I'm not
like,
gonna lie, I
my
swear
friends
to
and I
God,
would
like-
come up with.
Dude, I swear to God, like 2 years ago, I forgot I had seen this movie because I saw it like once or twice, like when about the time it first came out, and then like just again last night, and I was like, I swear to God, I had this idea like 2 years ago, and I'm glad to know I didn't execute it because it's like I would have been completely stealing somebody's idea.
So the premise for this commercial is it's shot in black and white. It's got a very
I was about
serious
to say,
tone,
the fact that it's in black
and it's like
white,
it's like a PSA tone, if you will. And
yeah, like
they're
a please donate to this like
Yeah.
this cause kind of thing. Think
And-
the like what's the Sarah McLachlan like dog ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah.
The setup is that it shows a bunch of people getting angry at technology and machines and getting abusive toward those machines, and it's reminding people, don't be cruel to your machines because they have little kids in them.
Yeah, don't forget there's children
Yeah.
inside that have
Children
to
exist inside your
hand
machine.
you your
It's like
cola.
showing, like hand your cola out of the vending machine, or like
give you
make a
your
copy
money.
for you
Yeah,
out of
make
the
a
fax
copy
machine.
for you. And then like they're spitting on it, and
Dude,
it
that's-
cuts to the one kid putting the paper on his head to shield
So that's
him.
the best part.
That's
Is
the
like
best
the commercial is going on for a part. It shows a guy getting like really upset at like a copy machine. He's like hitting it, and then like his friend walks up, and you can like see him like tell his friend like in a pissed off tone like what's going on. His like friend gets mad for him, starts hitting it, and like spits on the machine for him. There's like both of them spitting on it together. Cuts to the kid inside of it, like putting a sheet of paper over his head,
trying to
protect-
shield
yeah.
himself from it.
There's like a little girl in the machine. You see her
just
tear going down her
weeping.
cheek. It's just a dumb enough concept
Yeah.
that's executed just well
and then
enough.
it comes up with like don't be mean to your machines.
Yeah.
There's kids in there, and it's like donate now at like kids inside like there are kids inside the machines.com or something stupid like that. It
It's
looks
the
like
perfect length. It's just like
yeah, exactly. It's real quick. It's like it gives you just enough time to be like like I did, like, is there more to this? And then it just ends and you're like, all right, no, perfect. Like they nailed it. So
it felt very like Kroll Show-esque, if you will. Like something
yeah,
that
definitely Kroll Show. Yeah, definitely Kroll Show. God, there's some good ones in that one. Kroll Show.
were.
I need to go back and watch some Kroll Show, to be honest. So we get the vending machine.
So we get the vending machine.
And then we cut back to Dennis Quaid, the Dennis Quaid stuff, and he's like, "What do you think about the commercials inside of the movie? like, how do you think that's gonna play? Like, and stuff." And he's just like, "I don't fucking know, man. Like, I need."
He's like kind of placating at this point because he's being held up by a gun. He's like, "That sounds great.
sounds
I love
amazing."
that. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like game changing."
And then they kind of like banter back and forth, and then this is when he's like, we have to go to my boss to like, if we're gonna like fast track this, we got to go to my boss. And like they're walking in the courtyard, he's like, act normal, and he's like, if you don't, I'm gonna pull the pin on this. Turns out he's got a fucking grenade
Yeah, man's
on him
strapped.
too. He's like, I'm ready to go. Like, he's like, no, we're gonna fast track it. Like, we just have to go to get to my boss. And then cut to.
I believe we go back to iBabe,
We
right?
go back to iBabe. This is where iBabe,
They flesh it out a little more.
quote unquote, pays off.
Yeah, we can say that. So this is more of the iBabe sketch, and the premise of this one is it kind of like cuts from the commercial to a board meeting. Like they're watching that iBabe commercial with the naked girl in it, and then all of a sudden we're in like a conference room, and they are discussing that there has been some recent incident reports from the iBabe that people are getting their fingers and limbs cut off by a fan that exists, because the fan that exists in the iBabe is in the region of the privates.
It's the only place that it can go.
Yeah, of course. The fan exists in the vaginal area of the iBabe. and they're talking about the issues. They're like, is the iBabe wrong? Like, we did all this like R&D, all these things.
Yeah.
I find this to maybe be the weakest, or
Yeah.
like maybe one of the weaker sketches.
I think the only thing that makes it remotely funny is Richard Gere being like the head of the company,
Yeah.
and then what's his name?
Jack McBrayer.
Jack McBrayer
Yeah.
being like the head of like the like development and
Yeah.
stuff, like arguing with the one woman who is like, teenage boys are putting their penises inside of it and their fingers because it feels and looks like a real woman. So obviously they're going to. Why am I crazy?
Yeah,
in this room right
it's
now?
It's Kate
And, like,
Bosworth, and she's like
yes,
the only
yes,
girl
yes,
in
yes.
the room, and like everyone else was like, I can't figure out why
Why
people are
is-
getting hurt.
Like,
yeah,
why,
like,
I don't understand why
like,
this
we
is
did-
like
yeah,
an issue. Yeah,
it's
we
a
did
great
all these
product.
studies. It was great
and then
product.
like go to the
like,
scientist.
quality
You're
sound.
like, you were in charge of R&D. Did you like come across any like issues when y'all were like doing the field studies? He was like, no. He like lifts his hands
no,
up. He's
like-
got a nub.
Yeah, he's like, no, like we're good. Like,
yeah, he's missing a
everything
hand.
was fine. Yeah, like, and she's just like, I don't understand how, and like,
Yeah.
honestly, there's not much more to this one than that.
There really isn't.
Besides when they roll out the iBabe 2.0, and then this time instead of
Yeah.
a white woman, it's a black woman, and they're like, oh yeah, and now you can pick your color and stuff,
Yep.
and she's like, and it goes back to Kate Bosworth, and she's just like, I don't.
Just
She's
super
like, this
dumbfounded, yeah.
is awful. Like she's like self-aware. She's like, this is terrible.
And then like
I
the
hate
very
this.
end of the
Like,
sketch, you see Richard Gere. He's like, I gotta, let me test this theory or whatever. And like you see him stick his hand in the box to the area where the fan would be, and you kind of hear like bzzz, and he's like, oh, you're right, the fan
He's
is
like,
on
oh,
there.
yeah,
so
the
it's like
fan is there.
essentially the sketch.
yeah, why can't we put the fan in the ear? And he's like, no. It
Touch
won't
and
work.
puss,
It won't
yeah.
work if we put the fan in the ear. Like it needs a bigger fan. It won't fit in the ear.
Yeah.
Like he says some stupid
This
shit.
this one is definitely like the most middle school. It's like whatever that comment was on like this is just like gross filmmaking.
Yeah.
at its
Like,
finest.
gross
Like,
out comedy. Like that's the number.
and from my
one.
understanding, like it was hard to get gear for it on my reading. Like they flew to him to film this scene.
Yeah.
Like, they go into him and like
the fact that they still got him for
I'm
it.
impressed they got gear to agree to this.
Yeah,
scene.
but he was like,
yeah,
all right, like I guess.
like how you gonna waste gear like that?
Yeah, I know, right?
You know, I
Like-
guess you got the name attached to it. You can show the clip of him next to a naked woman. It's all the shock value. But
Yeah.
I do find this to be definitely one of the weaker sketches.
This is definitely one of the weaker ones.
Yeah.
But like everything else has been like
Up until this point,
quality
pretty
or
decent.
like pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'll agree with that. And then we cut from this to I forgot I wrote this down, and somebody in that iBabe sketch says none of us could have seen this coming. like so seriously, like none of us
Yeah,
could
none
have
of-
predicted this was going to happen. Like there's no way. It's like it's just absurd and stupid. But then we cut to the preteens on a date.
Yeah. Middle school date.
Middle school date.
This one's
watching
directed
TV.
by Elizabeth Banks, and it stars Chloe Grace Moretz.
Which honestly,
Moretz.
Elizabeth Banks directing this one, I think it's one of the only things that saves this one.
Yeah.
Because this one is like,
So we watched this. Chelsea did not like this one. She thought it was one of the weaker, dumber ones, and it's not one of the better
it's
ones.
dumb.
But it has enough people in it and gets so
It has enough
dumb.
people, and like some of the moments are just good enough to be like, it is funny.
Yeah.
Like it is funny, but it was like, oh, Elizabeth Banks, like a woman directed this
Yeah.
one. Elizabeth Banks.
It's
like,
also, I mean, it's
specifically,
called
like-
Middle School Date. This one is also a very like middle school boy came up with this premise. But the setup for this one is it's Chloe Grace Moretz, and she's like at the house with her middle school boyfriend. They're like watching TV. I think he's the only person in this sketch who I don't.
Yeah, I don't
think he went on to do anything.
Yeah.
But you've got Christopher Mintz. Plass, is that his name? McLovin.
Yeah, McLovin.
I think universally
You know
people know him
McLovin,
as
yeah.
McLovin.
Yeah, he's the
he
older
kind of plays the
brother.
older brother, and they're like, he's like kind of teasing them, and Chloe Grace Moretz's character like excuses herself to use the restroom or something like that, and it is revealed that she is experiencing
she's wearing white jeans.
wearing white jeans, and there's now a stain on the couch, and it is revealed that she is experiencing her first period as a young girl. And so the like little boy's like, oh man, like McLovin spilled like fruit punch on the couch, like mom's gonna be so pissed, like all the stuff. And like she comes back in and she's like, hey, like I don't feel good. I think I need to go home.
Like I need to go. Like she comes in mortified. She's like, I gotta go now.
I gotta get out of here
but
now.
you got 30 more minutes until you're getting picked up.
She's like, I guess we can just watch TV. Like I'm just gonna stand over here because like she's already aware that she's she's trying to hide it. She like leans up against like a kitchen cabinet. Somehow like it's smeared. McLovin's character like comes back in the room. They notice that she is now.
Oh no, the little brother is like, oh my god, he spilled juice all over the cabinet too. Mom's gonna be so pissed. Yeah. And then McLovin comes in, and then he sees.
I think he like sees her from the back or something, and it's like, holy crap, what's wrong with your girlfriend?
Oh my god,
or,
like, did you sit on a nail or something? One of them says like, did you sit on a nail or something? It's like, oh my fucking god.
So now you've got two teenage boys trying to help a teenage girl experiencing her first period. They're all freaking out. No one knows what to do. McLovin's character is like running around the kitchen, like opening cabinets, being like.
So the first thing he says is like, I'm gonna find you some of our mom's tampons. Like I got it. And then he like goes out and then he comes back in and he's like, you're way skinnier than mom. There's no way this is gonna fit. like just like
classic.
Just like it's like that. Like I have to admit that made me laugh. I was like. It's just not how it works. Like it's just like the ignorance of all the men. Like is hilarious. Like,
it's perfect. They have no idea what's going on. All the sizing, the fact it's like I don't think she's the same size as mom. There's no way they'd fit.
No way they'll fit.
He's like, what is he's like? I found a pack of frozen peas and a sponge. Will this help?
I got frozen peas and a sponge. Like that was good. Like him finding. I got this and that. Like all these different things that like can help. And then he's like. She's like, I'm just gonna walk home, and he's like, you can't walk home in your condition. like the little brother's like, you can't walk home in your condition. Like
they're all really freaking out. No one knows what to do, and that's when the father of the two boys comes home and walks in, and it's Patrick Warburton. So like solid. Just hey boys,
deep ass fucking
voice, crunk, if you will.
And the little brother is like, I'm calling 911, and he's like, my girlfriend's bleeding out of her vagina. Why are you laughing at me? Like it's just like
it's a lot of chaos going on, right? Because no one knows to figure out what's going on.
A lot of quick little things that
and
are
like right after
hilarious.
Patrick Warburton's character comes in, he's like, oh yeah, some birds and bees or whatever. I'm not exactly sure what
he says something about like it's a period.
Natural,
he's like, I know what this is. Like it's fine.
And then her dad comes in to pick her up, and it's Matt Walsh, which y'all know from Veep, from like so many things.
Veep, he's got sent on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's in an episode of Community,
which Matt Walsh is great.
He's amazing, dude. Yeah.
And I don't know what exactly is said, but then somehow
he says because I wrote this down. And he comes in and is like, he says like, how dare you guys squish a large tomato on on the back of my daughter's pants, and the dad start fighting because of that. And he was like, what the fuck, I didn't do that, and they start
just
fucking
the dumbest setup for a fight. But yeah, it's Patrick Warburton and Matt Walsh going at each other for a second, just like really fighting. And then like there's like no one did anything. I'm just going through my period. And then like all the dads and the boys just like, oh gross.
No, she's like I'm gonna she's like, call mom, tell her to meet us at home, and she like leaves, and he's like Walsh is like, he's like, oh, okay, great. And then like as he runs out, he's like, oh, don't sit on the seats. Like, he like chases her out. And then like the dad and the two sons are just like, well, that was gross. Anyway, like getting ready for the game tonight. Like they start broing out. They start broing out immediately.
So that one's not great, but I think having the people.
But then we get the slide into another commercial.
That's right. I forgot.
That is a bunch of women on the beach. It's like nice, like because at first it's like still. The transition for this one is kind of clever because it's like when the credits roll, it like gets its own, like somebody directed and wrote this like moment, like this ad, and it's like these women, like they're looking all hot at the beach and stuff, and for a second you're just bros being bros, like watching babes on the beach and stuff. But then like it goes into the commercial and like two women go into the water, one to the left, one to the right, and they're swimming for a second, and the one on the left gets eaten by like a 50-foot giant fucking great white shark on the left side, and then on the right side it just says Tampax.
Which both times I watched this film, I guess I somehow watched that short, and I laughed out loud both times with the shark.
It's just so ridiculous.
I had forgotten on the second watch the shark was coming, and yeah,
I have to say the way they transition from the period sketch to the tampon ad
Tampax commercial
is fucking genius.
And she gets eaten in a pretty ridiculous way, her arm flails off and everything.
Oh yeah, it's like 10 people's worth of blood going everywhere, and literally the biggest shark that has ever existed jumps out of it's literally a scene from the Meg, and does a 50-foot jump to grab her. It's ridiculous.
It was $1 million of that $6 million budget went into animating this giant shark.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, dude. And
but
then
that sketch is I think it's not great, but I think having all those names attached to it.
Moments again. I think and
as we've all been a very dumb, ignorant.
Yeah, I think
boy
you can't walk home in this condition and 911 the 911 those two
I think what you said too is just I remember learning about the sizing
this it's mom's way bigger than you, you're way too skinny for this it's no,
or it's kind of
not really how it works. But okay, all that
pretty
stuff.
Relatable.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking hilarious. But then we cut back to the real world, and this is where Common comes in.
Okay,
we've met. We come into the meeting.
Yeah,
he's got him at
he's
gunpoint.
Still holding him hostage. He's I've got to go get this approved by the head of the studio. Let's go talk to him. If he says that we can make this movie, then we'll make your movie, Dennis Quaid.
And he's okay.
And so they are walking to him and catch Common, who's the head of the studio, out on the lot somewhere. They catch him outside and start talking to him. He's just hey, what's up, boss? This guy.
They catch him in the meeting.
Oh,
in
you're
his
right.
office
With Seth MacFarlane. Yeah.
Seth MacFarlane's pitching some off the wall bullshit, to him, some crazy fucking movie that they want to do. And Common's yeah, whatever you want, Seth. Because he comes in.
I
and
forget what he says. He's it's something combined with Family Guy.
Yeah, it's Family Guy and Schindler's List. he's think Family Guy and Schindler's List. And Common's yeah. I think this is great. We should definitely greenlight this and stuff. And they come in. He's can I talk to you? And he pulls him aside, and this is where he's I fucked your wife and you came into work and stuff. Just make a fucking.
Well, he's we got to make this film. He's got a really explosive idea.
Yeah, he's
kind of hinting.
He's ready
to
start shooting. He's
really
trying to signal to him.
Now. Yeah.
And he's you don't need to come in here every fucking time. You're a grown ass man.
You gotta have a backbone,
right?
You gotta have a backbone.
I can't believe you. I fucked your wife at a party and then you came in early the next day at work. Come on, bro, just fucking do it. And he's okay, I guess that's what we're gonna do. He's Seth MacFarlane, because the Seth MacFarlane and the other guy, and he's should we leave? Is it about time? He's no, go over there and keep playing Rock Band. I'll be back with you in a second. And they're just go over there and just start playing Rock Band, which is absolutely ridiculous. But then and then it cuts back to they're back in the office, the original executive's office with Dennis Quaid, and obviously the exec's pissed about everything he just heard and pissed about, and he's you know what, fuck it, we're gonna bankrupt this movie, fuck the shareholders, whatever you want, what do you got next, let's go. And then this is when we get the Johnny Knoxville fucking leprechaun.
Yep. So this one's called Happy Birthday, and this sketch stars Johnny Knoxville and Sean William Scott and Gerard Butler, which pretty solid line. Another one. Just a lot of these, when you write them on paper, you're just how. That's got to be at least sort of good.
Yeah, right?
And this one's fine. This
fine.
one's it's very kind of slapsticky. It's
very much. It's very Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, it's very Johnny Knoxville. I like it because I wrote down this combination of people, even though this came out in 2013, does feel very 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny Knoxville, Sean William Scott, Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler, superimposed face on,
so he plays
as a leprechaun.
Two leprechauns.
Two leprechauns, actually. Yeah, him and his brother. Yeah,
and the setup is Johnny Knoxville's character comes in and is just hey man, I'm really sorry that I cheated on your girlfriend, or your girlfriend cheated on you with me. I know we're best friends.
He's packing up, to move out.
I'm sorry, that was super lame of me. Please don't leave. I did something for you for your birthday to help try and make it up to you. And it ends up, which I guess they were both in Dukes of Hazzard, right? I'm just realizing.
Yeah, so they were the Dukes.
Yeah, and he's well, what is it? He's you're gonna have to come down to the basement to see it. I think you're gonna really like it. I think it's gonna make you forget.
Yeah, this will be worth it. Come on.
Worth it. And so they walk down to the basement, and in the basement, tied up to a chair, is a leprechaun. And it's Gerard Butler's face on the leprechaun. The leprechaun's pissed. And there's like, Johnny Knoxville's like, I captured this leprechaun for you, so he can tell us where his pot of gold is.
Yeah, we just need to get him to tell us where the pot of gold is, because we got him.
Yeah. And so they're like trying to antagonize the leprechaun, and he like, it's like, screw you guys, you're not getting anything out of me. And in fact, my leprechaun comrade is going to come save me. Which sure enough, a second leprechaun shows up, starts doing a bunch of like crazy ninja stuff to try and rescue the original leprechaun.
This one's very Tarantino.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like.
And then Sean William Scott and Johnny Knoxville have to fight these leprechauns, and I don't remember exactly what the sequence is. I know like one of the leprechauns takes out Sean William Scott's
he takes
eye.
out his eye and shit, and then Johnny Knoxville like gets a gun, and he's like, and like John William Scott's like, one of like the brother leprechaun is like got him, and he's like fighting him off and stuff, and he's like, shoot the leprechaun, and he shoots the original one, and he's like, not that one, shoot this one, and then he shoots that one, so then they're good. And then it cuts to them outside with
the pot of gold, right?
Well, they get the pot of gold. The brother got like the pot of gold was on the doorstep.
That's right.
And they're like, oh my god, we got the pot of gold. They're bringing it, and he was inside of the pot.
Yeah,
and like that's when he
the
burst
brother's
out
inside
to like
the pot. Yeah,
to like
secret
fight him and
ninja
stuff.
moves.
But they put the two. They walk outside with two normal sized trash bags with the implication that their bodies are in the, and they just throw them in the bin like everything's normal. But then he's like, oh, I forgot, I got one more present for you, and they're covered in blood.
Yeah, they
like
look rough
with this whole thing.
Got a patch on the eye.
And they go upstairs, and what's in the other room, Zach?
Is a very beautiful tooth fairy.
Yep.
And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do with the tooth fairy? And what does she tell him?
She says, I suck cock for gold coins.
And it kind of cuts to like both of them. You know, you see Sean William Scott just kind of smile, and it just kind of pans out.
Smile, and that's it.
Feels super, like I said, kind of 2004. The humor is very of that era. It's the casting of that era.
Absolutely.
That one, it's not the funniest to me, but there is something just like weirdly nostalgic.
Honestly,
to it.
it is a bit nostalgic in terms of the comedy, but then also like the Tarantino level of like the plot and stuff. Like they got somebody tied up in a basement, and they're like beating the shit out of it, like torturing him for answers. And somebody comes to save him, and there's a big brawl. Is like, it's worth watching, but it's definitely not the best one.
This
like,
whole film is worth watching one time.
100%. Yeah, you gotta watch it at least once.
Yeah.
Again,
Quaid edit, of course.
yes, Quaid edit, of course. So then we cut to this is when he confronts Common with the gun in the lot.
Does he? Okay, because I know there's one more sketch before they're just like, cut it.
That is the Mexican restaurant blind,
right. So they
blind
cut
date. Truth or
to
Dare.
Common in the lot. They're like outside, and
the exec's got the gun to take it to Common to be like, fuck you, like, I hate you. Like,
somehow
all
the
this shit.
security guard shows back up.
Here he comes. And
It's Will Sasso.
and he's like, what do you want me to... Common's like, what do you want me to do? He's like, I want you to blow Jerry.
Yeah, he's like, I want you to blow
He's
Jerry.
like, and Jerry's like, oh, God. Like,
Dennis Quaid is just like, hey, man, Jerry's kind of already had a day.
he's already been through a lot today. Like, are you
As
sure?
if he
Like,
wasn't the one who like made him blow him earlier.
Exactly. Like, it's like...
I think that's one of the best parts of the whole movie. Is like Jerry's kind of already had a day, dude. Like, cut him a break.
That's why. Like, that's part of the reason why the Dennis Quaid edit is better, because like that narrative's like, this is Jerry.
I also
Like,
want to say that to me, honestly, really, before watching this film, Dennis Quaid has always been, because I am a child of the 90s, the dad from Parent Trap.
Parent
the
Trap,
Lindsay
and then
Lohan.
the fucking Rookie.
Yeah.
Fucking, oh my
So
God.
all
dude.
those things, like, he's always just been that, like, father figure, like, kind of stoic, not necessarily, like, a super straight character, but, to see him play just something absurdly silly with the Justin Bieber haircut and outfit. Like, it's so
dude.
good.
It's so fucking funny. And then, like, I forget exactly how, but then we cut to the Truth or Dare skit.
So this next sketch
and this one is so wild that it's Halle Berry.
Dude, this one is the most
then,
probably like, I don't know how they got her to do this.
I don't know how they got her to do this either.
Like everyone else, even with the balls on the neck for Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman doing the balls, like he's Australian, I get it.
Yeah.
Like I could see him being like, yeah, fuck
and
it,
like
it'll
even
be
like
fine.
the rest of the way he plays the character in that sketch, you're just like, yeah, it's just like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
It's just like he's not doing absurd things, but that one part of him is absurd.
Yeah.
Halle Berry in this
Berry-
skit does some really silly
And then
things.
who's the
So
British
it's Stephen
dude?
Merchant.
Okay, yeah, who is like a staple in British
You guys would all recognize
comedy
him.
and acting,
He
like,
is the like super tall, lanky British comedian. Always plays like sort of a charming dude.
yeah, he is a staple
Yeah.
in British acting and comedy specifically.
Yeah.
He's
great.
Yeah, he's awesome. Everything he's in, he's amazing, including this because his acting is just so
Yeah,
good. Like,
this
to be
one,
honest.
this is definitely the most out there of all of them.
Yeah,
And
the cut back to the real world, I loved, which we'll get to in a second. It's so funny.
and so this one's called Truth or Dare, and it is another date sketch. So it cuts to Halle Berry and Stephen Merchant, and they're on a date in a Mexican restaurant.
yeah, casual daytime Mexican restaurant date.
Yeah,
blind
they're just
date
kind of
thing,
doing the regular conversation and decide to start playing Truth or Dare.
Yeah, Halle Berry is like, I don't want to just have another boring conversation.
Yeah.
I'm tired of blind dates. Like, you don't like my father. You don't care that my father is like a garbage man. He's like, oh, your father's a garbage. She's like, no, that's the point. Like and stuff. And like no, fuck that. Let's play Truth or Dare. And he's like,
Yeah.
all right, let's do it.
So she has this idea to really spice up the date. It like starts with like something like, I dare you to go touch that guy's butt.
Yeah, that big beefy
Yeah.
strong man.
Like,
over
I think
there.
he like chooses some truths first.
Yeah, there's
or
a
whatever.
couple
Like,
truths.
They're playing it safe.
It's when the dares start.
And then it's when the dares start where this thing really takes off. She dares him to go touch guy's butt. He gives like a silly reaction. Then she gets dared to go blow out this blind kid who's having his birthday party at the Mexican restaurant. To go blow out his candles while
before
they sit.
he can, yeah. Which is like,
Which is
oh,
funny.
It's so fun, but it's so funny.
And then this thing just like goes 0 to 100.
And then I think one of the next ones is he dares her to make. So she dares him to. At this again, most of this takes place in the Mexican restaurant, which I wrote down. I can't believe they didn't get kicked out of this Mexican restaurant.
Right.
Like, first of all, this must be
quite a bit.
This must be the most casual Mexican restaurant in the world.
Yeah.
She's like bachelorette party.
And they
hired a
actually go
stripper.
back to the Mexican restaurant
I know.
because
Like, they
there's
even
definitely
go
like some
back.
surgery and come back. And
Oh god, the surgery. They hired a Chippendale stripper, like go be the stripper, like take over, and like so he does that, and then he's like, then he dares her to make guacamole with her boob.
yeah, so
Like-
you see Halle Berry with her huge tit out. I think it's like a huge fake tit.
Yeah, it's
making
definitely. It's
guacamole.
I was like looking and stuff, and it's like I think it's like CGI. Honestly, like there's like a moment where
That
it's
was
like
like another
that's
million,
definitely
yeah.
a fake tit. Like
But so she's making guacamole with her boobs. They like both get crazy plastic surgery where she gets like huge boobs, huge lips. They make him like a very like offensively stereotypical.
So you know the Looney Tunes episodes that they did,
Yeah.
like skits back in the day during World War II when Bugs Bunny was like tricking the Japanese like soldiers.
I do.
Like
Yeah.
those ones, they make him look like
they make
that.
him look like the
down to the buck teeth
historically
and the
offensive
bowl cut.
caricature of
Like one of the ones that that
offensive
Whoopi
age.
Goldberg comes out and prefaces, we're not going to censor it because we need to remember this so we
Yeah.
can learn from it, but be prepared, it's going to
Yeah.
be pretty rough. They make him look like
make
that.
him look like that.
Like, it's insane.
Plus also a huge tattoo of a veiny dick on his face
yes,
as
there is
well.
yeah.
So they're doing that. I think there's like a sequence of like Halle Berry like basting like turkey basting like salsa into her vagina.
Yeah, like the hottest, like El Diablo, like sauce.
They are doing just all sorts of crazy tomfoolery in this
All
sketch
fucked
to
up.
try and outdo each other. At some point, there's like Snooki is reading Moby Dick.
If Snooki has to read Moby Dick to him, and he has to
Stephen
like
Merchant.
listen to the entire thing and stuff, which is I love that she did that. To
I
be
do
honest,
too,
like I
yeah.
love that she was like, oh, this is like a bit like. This
Yeah,
would be
like,
torture for people to
self-aware,
do, like the
like,
self-awareness
yeah.
of it. Yeah, I love that. Good for her.
I think she's
Like,
gone on to have some self-awareness, which is
Yeah,
is
she-
fun.
she knows what's up. Like,
she's
yeah.
cashed in on what she
exactly,
needs to.
and
which is
I
smart.
appreciate that from
Yeah.
her because that was hilarious.
And then, is there any other like super silly stuff they do?
Don't think there's anything.
I just know it
super
cuts to them.
outrageous.
I guess like Halle Berry's character is staying at a hotel or something, so it cuts to them like back at her hotel, like in front of the room, and it's just kind of like one of those, just like, oh, like had a lot of fun, great date. it's kind of now this like awkward point of the day.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Are we not? And she's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just not attracted to Asian men. Which is what she says verbatim. And like I said, they have made him very offensive.
Very offensive caricature of a nation.
And like you just see him go like, oh man, like you see him get like all sad, and she like kind of closes the door. And then I forgot this too until I rewatched it last night. And she goes, psych, and opens up the door real quick and goes, get in here, Yao Ming.
Get in here, Yao Ming. And then she rips open her blouse with her like Triple J fake tits he dared her to get, and is like, let's put these to good use, and like bobbles him, and he just runs in. Like, and he just runs in.
Super absurd.
Door closes. That's it.
I think out of all of the performances and people they got, I'm just like, how?
This is the most shocking.
Like,
this is the most shocking.
It is the one. Just like, what was your conversation to get her to be like, sure?
Like, how did you get her to commit to this?
Because she goes for it. Yeah, she does not hold back. She leans all the way into it.
Yeah, no, she's hilarious.
And I appreciate Halle Berry, right? She's like the person who like brought her Oscar out to
when she got the Razzie for the Catwoman. Yeah, exactly.
That's that level of self-aware. It's like, I can be it on the joke. I've already done this.
Exactly.
Like, I did the thing you guys are all trying to do.
Yeah, dude, she's
Let's just
amazing.
have fun. So shouts out Halle Berry.
Yeah,
only makes me like you more.
Exactly. Like she's awesome.
You've been cool and hot my whole life. Like
this skit is worth watching just because of how absurd it gets and stuff.
And he's a great like secondary like
he is
to play off because
he is the perfect
the fact
one,
that they
dude.
would put them two on a blind date anyways.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, this one's so fucking worth watching, because even though it's like so absurd and it gets like hella offensive, obviously. Yeah. But I love the self-awareness in the Dennis Quaid cut because then it cuts to Common kind of thinking, and then he's like, nah, I don't like it. And they're like, and he's like, why not? And he's like, it's offensive to Asian people. We're not doing that. like he's like, we're not doing that. And it's like, okay, cool. They realized this was like a lot.
Even in this
like,
setup of a movie,
even this type of movie, they were like,
kind of no punches held.
Like, he's like just the way he's just like kind of rubbing his chin, thinking about it. And he's like, nah, it's offensive to Asian people. We're not doing that one. Like, which is just so fucking funny to me. And then this is where the fourth wall gets broken, because Common pulls out his gun, shoots the dude, but then the shit doesn't go off right. And
it turns out Common also has a gun. He's ready for this moment. Greg Kinnear's holding him, but somehow like gets distracted, so Common pulls out his gun, blast into Greg Kinnear. It's super ridiculous because you see the like bullet holes appear in Greg Kinnear's shirt. Yeah. And then the sound comes like 2-3 seconds later.
Then you see him go, oh, and then pop, 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 like, and then boom, 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 and it's like, all right, cut. Like,
you hear the cut from the background. Like, all of a sudden, the fourth wall is broken.
You look
see
around,
a whole
there's
production
like
crew.
30 people standing there. Like,
Greg Kinnear's just like, what the hell is going on? He's like, in this movie just about like shorts anyway, like can't we just cut to the last short?
Like, it's just when we got like one more, like let's just do it. Like let's just do it.
Which is exactly how it goes. And then we roll to the next short. Which this one I think on so paper is so great. Like
no, dude,
I think it's good, and I think the execution is pretty solid.
Fucking kills it in this one, dude.
So this one's called Victory's Glory, and it takes place probably like maybe in the 60s or
like,
so.
It's like 50s, 60s.
Segregation.
Remember the Titans, but it's
got a Remember the Titans feel to it.
But it's the basketball.
Takes place in the locker room before the game, and it's a basketball team, and they're like, Coach, we are just nervous about this game. What if we can't do it? What about their fundamentals? And Terrence Howard plays the coach, and he's like, guys, here's the thing. Y'all are all black. They're white.
They're white.
This is basketball.
We're playing basketball.
Y'all don't have to worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
You got this.
And then I just love all the fucking, they're like, so coach is saying if we work as a team, and he's like, that's not what I'm saying. Y'all are black. They're white. Y'all are going to win. And he's like, so what you're saying is the Lord walks with, and he's like, no, the Lord already blessed you. Y'all are black. like you are going to win this fucking game. Like just the entire thing is him just being like,
he's like,
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
This isn't hockey.
This is hockey.
This is basketball.
And then when the like white team comes in and like squares up on them, and they're like, y'all aren't ready for a white man's game. And one guy has like really really hairy shoulders for
He's
some
like a Teen
reason.
Wolf,
And like
like,
one has like the like classic
Squints,
50s, 60s squints glasses
super
and stuff.
thick black frame glasses.
And then we get a montage of the game, and they just fucking demolish
just take him to the house.
them, dude.
The game goes great for our original team that we're rooting for. In fact, they're like, the only drama of the game is when one of the athletes, which they address in the locker room, gets a technical for dribbling the length of the court with his 1.5 long penis.
Yeah, because Tarantino was like, he's like, come up here, like stand up here. He's like, how big is your penis? And he's like, I don't know, foot and a half. And Tarantino was like, he's like, 1.5. Damn. All right. It's like, like it's just like that quick moment just had me rolling too. Yeah, but like technicality, and then like so the white guys get a shot at the end of the game, and he fucking granny shots the free throw.
Granny shots the free throw.
Makes it. Yeah. All the white boys freak out.
Rocking. Cuts to the score. It's like whatever.
It's 105 to 1.
Yeah.
Game's over. Like, and then the movie ends.
The movie ends, or it cuts to credits.
It cuts to credits, and we get blooper reels for each skit as we go down the line, and which are all hilarious and a lot of fun to see.
It is a fun movie to see the blooper reels for. And then you get one more.
See, because at the end it was like what's this one with Elizabeth Banks?
Yeah,
I was like, I don't remember seeing that, but then it's like, okay, here's this one at the very end. So you get one more.
You get one more.
You get a post-credit skit.
This one's called Beazle.
This
is the one James Gunn directed. I was very curious to figure out which one he directed.
So I was very much like, when it started, I was like, man, I love Beazle. He's funny as fuck. Like, this is hilarious and stuff. And as it grew, I was like, I don't know about Beazle. Yeah. Like, I don't know
set
about
this
Beazle,
up,
man.
this film, or the short, it's live action, but there is Beazle, who is an animated cat.
Yes.
And it stars Elizabeth Banks and Josh Duhamel.
Yeah. Amazing, honestly.
Yeah. Which are like solid. Y'all got good people.
Like,
and then Beazle, the animated 2D cartoon cat. And it's like kind of has like a Looney Tunes like esque opening with like the circles, and all of a sudden Beazle appears. And Beazle is Josh Duhamel's cat and loves him, and Elizabeth Banks is his girlfriend, and I think they're like trying to start a life together.
Yeah, like they like she like just recently moved in or something. Like they're making out on the couch, and then Beazle shows up.
You see like Beazle get kind of jealous of the new girlfriend. It's like, oh, we got this new person in house taking all the attention.
Yeah, like, oh, your cat doesn't like me, and stuff. And he's like, no, and then definitely the way he's petting him too. Like he leans in, like his tail is just straight out, and he's just like stroking, which should have been so funny to film. The way they like did like combined all that, and so it just was hilarious. Yeah.
So and then she's, I think your cat is like jealous or something. Later on, Josh Duhamel's doing something else, but you catch Elizabeth Banks walking in on Beazle, and Beazle is pleasuring himself to
No.
Beazle is pledging himself to a photo of Josh Duhamel. And it's like, oh, this isn't just pet. Like you love,
like pull photos of Josh Duhamel, and like when we say pleasuring himself, not like when like for those who have cats, you see them clean themselves, they bathe themselves. Yeah, no, he is full on human pleasuring himself.
He's going to town.
Like a man would.
Like I think there might be like an animated bottle of lotion or something there too.
Like there's it's a full send on the
so
cat.
Elizabeth Banks sees this, and she's like, wow, like all right, it's clear you are jealous, like you're in love with your owner, you're not just a pet, but like, in love. And then like Beazle's like, oh no, you're not gonna find me out and get me in trouble. And so they go into like a real cartoony-esque like back and forth of like trying to like get each other and attack each other, and it becomes very Looney Tunes in that aspect. And somehow they like end up at this like children's birthday party.
They go outside this first instance when she catches him, jerking it. He goes out, they go outside, he attacks her, he sprays all over her.
That's right.
And he's like, no, like, that just means he likes you. And she's like, no, the fuck it doesn't. And she's like, I can't be with you with this cat. And he's like, we'll find a new home for the cat. And like, they start making out while she's covered in spray, which is disgusting. And Beazle's like, fuck this.
Teaches them.
But I did make a note. I was like, nah, man, don't get rid of your cat for this girl. I was like, I don't care how bad the cat is. Like, don't get rid of your pets don't get rid of your pets for people.
Yeah,
Come on, don't do that.
That always works out good.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do that.
No
but
resentment ever.
So they decide to there's like a cutscene of like they're trying to like live mutually and stuff. But then the day comes where they're getting rid of Beazle and taking him to his new home. And I can't remember exactly what happens, but at one point Beazle pulls out a 12 gauge shotgun, double barrel, and shoots Elizabeth.
It's a cartoon shotgun, but it works in real life.
But she gets fucking straight up shot in the back with a fucking 12 gauge shotgun. And then so she picks up a shovel that just happened to be outside because somebody was landscaping, I guess, and she starts beating this cat down the street.
Boom.
And they end up at the kid's birthday party as she's just pummeling this cat.
Like murdering this cat. Somehow Josh Duhamel's character ends up at the birthday party too. Yeah. It all gets framed against Elizabeth Banks' character.
Yeah, because all these kids are like, she's beating that cat to death. Like, and freaking out, crying and stuff. And then the kids proceed to murder Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah, I think that is how it is.
There is a quick shot where one of the kids picks up like a knife and like stabs her in the head. And like blood comes out. But then it very quickly cuts to him and the cat walking away.
Yeah.
And like cuddling, and like this song starts playing that is like written for this exact moment. And that like the lyrics, I was watching it with subtitles on, and some very interesting lyrics.
Did they write a Beazle tune where
they wrote a Beazle tune, and it was like,
when your cat really loves you.
Yeah, your cat, it says like gay so. Cat really loves like it was like gay cat like was in there and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, what is happening? Like, and stuff. And then the movie actually ends.
Then it ends, and we have completed the movie 43, not international edit, U.S. edit, I guess.
The real edit.
Yeah, the real one.
The Dennis Quaid edit, the only one that you need to watch.
Yeah, it really is. And
like,
it's an interesting film.
It's very interesting, and like, you know, like, I don't know, I hate to do this, but it's like, you know, you were saying it was good, I was saying it was bad and stuff, and like, if you look at the reviews, you know, people aren't going to want to watch this movie if they just look at reviews, if they're one of those people that's like, reviews mean everything and stuff like that. But I'm just like, I had some points to talk about it, about how it was bad and like why it's like not worth watching or it's not good. And like, honestly, just going through every skit, it was just so much fun reminiscing about the chaos of this movie.
Piece by piece, the pieces themselves are not
like, I want to rewatch Veronica.
Veronica's good
and so bad.
It's
like
great.
It's just so perfect. Like I can't. Like I'm just gonna go ahead. You won. Like it's good. It's a good movie.
I appreciate that.
Everybody needs to fucking watch this movie.
I want to select a stinker film.
We're gonna keep talking, but like it's just like just watch it. Like highly recommend.
And you know, bad movie debate. This is technically a bad movie, but I'm gonna debate that it's not.
Yeah,
it's not a great movie. That's not what we're debating.
It was easier
but it's not
for me.
A flop.
It was easier for me to find bad to talk about, and this is gonna be crazy. A Knight's Tale, like things that I had issues with that, and like moments I didn't like and stuff. This one, it's like, even when it's like a skit that doesn't hit, it's gonna be over in 2 minutes, and you just move on, and like you can just
and it's self-aware and
like,
tongue-in-cheek enough that it's not taking itself seriously, right? You're not like, oh, this is some guy who had like really bad dialogue. You're like, well, bad dialogue kind of plays into it here.
And that's the point. That's literally the point of half of it. Literally, Jason Sudeikis as Batman underneath the table, saying some off the wall
real
shit
ridiculous
about Kristen Bell, like just like ad-libbing, like just like saying like crazy shit and stuff, and that's how he figured out that it was actually amazing. Like you can't beat that. Like honestly,
I agree.
Like you can't get mad at that. Like so, I understand the 4%, but I think I agree 51.
Yeah,
is like you need.
I don't think it deserves anything higher than that, right? But I think that. On its
I'm not gonna stand
merits,
on a street corner and like preach that people need to watch this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like nothing like that.
But
I will say that about Dune Part 2. So on Monday, that shit was good. Rewatch the first one. Watch this one. Shit's good. Anyway, that's my preaching. That's my preaching about Dune. I'm shocked I haven't brought it up before.
I also think that 2013 is a very interesting time for this film to come out, because I think that is right before and for the better, right? I think as society, we kind of were like, hey, we've been probably making jokes that aren't the coolest, or like people who are being the butt of jokes, or even content that we're bringing up. They're like, isn't the most kosher, the coolest, right?
Absolutely.
And that, with all the movements and all in the right direction, I think. This kind of comes on the tail end of the films that we were talking about earlier, that like maybe some of those like even late 2000s films that come out like didn't quite age as well.
Oh,
this
for
one
sure.
doesn't have anything that's like, I mean, we discussed the Asian aspect in that one
and
skit.
then in Homeschool,
But the fact that even that they like kind of are self-aware of it, and
like
the film,
Common is like, nah, fuck that.
I don't
like,
know if
we
this
can't
film
do
would
that.
ever get remade or if it could even get made in 2024.
Well,
but
yeah,
I
because
do
in
think that it's like an
Homeschool-
interesting time capsule.
Yeah, because like in
comedy.
Homeschool, like the graffiti that's on
Yeah.
that's like supposed to be his locker, but it's the
Yeah.
like that phrase that they have on there, like no,
Right.
like you watch it and it's like when I was in high school,
But
yeah,
was that something you heard a lot in high school? Or does
like
it add to
in,
the like
in high school,
absurdity
yeah,
of that
that's-
sketch? Like
that happened in high school. Like so, like
Yeah.
it makes sense in this sketch, like
it does.
and stuff. It's like it's not cool, it wasn't cool and stuff, but you could like, I guess the best way to say is like you could get away with it.
Yeah.
Like it was something you could do in comedy back in the day. Like a lot of the stuff in this movie is like you could do that in comedy on like a mass scale and nobody batted an eye and stuff. And like, should it have happened in the first place? Probably not.
Yeah.
Is this movie funny and worth watching? Absolutely. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of those, it's like you can't make that kind of movie anymore. It's like you can, just not like that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you can do that, but not as
Which
intense
do
as
they?
that? I don't know.
Do they make movies like this? I mean, we've talked about how they don't really make comedies. Is there still like a production team that's making the like Meet the Spartan type films?
Dude,
or
I
the,
don't
like,
think so.
scary movie, or,
I
like,
want to say I think like Meet the Spartans or
straight
like
to
Disaster movie was like
DVD-esque,
the well, they tried to do. I think they made like a Scary Movie 6 or like 5 or 6, and that was like late, like that was like 2017.
Which like I mean, we didn't
or
need
something
anything
like
after
that.
like 3 or 4.
No,
like,
honestly, after 1, 2, and 3 is all you needed
Yeah.
out of that. But like, I think they made like a 5 or 6, and that was like 2015, 2016. And like, then there was a couple of like, it's called Haunted House, and it was like
Okay.
kind of the same premise where it's like, it all happens in this one house, but here's a bunch of horror tropes that are like we're making fun of, and like it's comedy and like,
Yeah.
but to the scale of like Scary Movie, like we're making fun of them in this way, shock value, gross out value, like jokes and stuff like that. So
This
but
movie
honestly, I don't
is
know.
just so absurd. Like, I'm trying to think of anyone who has played a version of themselves like Dennis Quaid in like
Oh my
another
God.
like
there's the self-awareness, like the
him playing himself but a different version of himself. It's just
Yeah,
so good.
but
Like,
just
it's
the, like,
almost
the-
like the like Lex Grossman or whatever his name is from like Tropic Thunder.
Yes, dude.
It's just like
Oh my
seeing
God,
someone do
dude.
something just like so different.
just so wild.
they
Yeah,
agreed
just
to
the like I haven't
itself
worked.
is
I
enough.
haven't worked in
Yeah.
years. Like that's just so funny. Cause like when was the last time you saw Dennis Quaid in a fucking movie, dude?
I remember hearing
like
about him maybe playing Nixon or Reagan in
Yeah.
a movie. I think it was Reagan, and I don't know.
like I remember seeing which I don't want to watch that movie. Fuck
Yeah, I'm
Reagan.
not
I don't
interested.
fuck Reagan.
I'm
I
not
don't want to
gonna
watch that
watch
movie. But like I remember like I was
It was
looking up
not
some
produced
stuff.
by a company that you've probably heard of.
No,
right?
yeah, exactly. We don't need to worry about that one. But I remember seeing something that was like, when I was like doing a little bit of like looking at stuff, and it's like I think it was one of the like major reviews being like cool to see Dennis Quaid doing stuff, like hard to get away from his brother Randy Quaid and like all the
Randy.
bullshit he's talking about on Twitter right now. Like
Yeah, you're
it's
just like, oh yeah, I forgot they are brothers.
Isn't that wild
Yeah.
that like Dennis Quaid, like totally like seemingly totally normal dude, just like was
Yeah.
in Hollywood, not really in Hollywood
Handsome
anymore,
guy and-
does some stuff. His brother is fucking Randy Quaid, who was in some great movies and
also
great
had a great
roles,
career, yeah.
and had a great career, but now is
You're just like, you are that person that you play.
yeah,
Like,
it's like that's
you are an
unfortunate.
insane-
Yeah. It's like you really are Uncle Eddie, huh?
You are.
Like that
Turns out that was
sucks, dude.
not
And
that far off.
your politics reflect it, and you're
Yeah.
letting the world know in mass, like
Yep.
with your social media posts. So it's like
And then you've got
ugh, it's
Jack,
rough.
who is
Oh, yeah, Jack
in
Quaid.
The Boys, right?
Right,
So,
and he's amazing.
Yeah, he's doing great.
He's the only Quaid.
He's
we
kind of
need.
past the like. I guess
Yeah.
both the older Quaids are just like
We're
your,
done.
Your time is
Yeah.
now, Jack.
Dennis is
So,
like, I'm just gonna live a nice life, quiet
Yeah.
life. Randy's going off the fucking wall,
boom.
Jack is here. We have a Quaid still. I think we're
Yeah,
gonna be okay.
I think Jack is that nice.
And he's good.
great.
Everything I've seen him in, and he's fucking
I haven't seen him in
killing it.
anything outside of The Boys, but he plays Howie great.
I haven't seen. There's this movie it's on Netflix. It's not a Netflix movie, but there's a movie. It's like a rom-com kind of thing.
I think I know.
But I've heard of it. I heard it's really good. And he's
Okay.
like really good. I can't remember what it's called though.
He seems suited for that type.
Oh,
of
it's
role.
the Plus One.
Okay.
It's like where it's like the premise is like it's like a rom-com where it's like somebody is going to a wedding and like they just need a plus one, and he's like either the one going to the wedding or the plus one, and like it turns out it's like a nice little fun rom-com, and apparently that's really good.
Sure, he does great.
I'm sure he does.
I think he probably plays that kind of like safe guy character to a degree.
Yeah.
That,
I would imagine.
So,
he's good.
he is
like
good.
him. All right. Well, again, there's not much to discuss because you won. Like again, I was like, I had some stuff like lined up. It's like, well, this part or like that part, but like it's all so self-aware that you can't.
Yeah.
You just can't really.
Now
argue.
we can talk about the bad stuff. That came from the edit that I don't think you got to watch with the kids. Like,
exactly.
That one's pretty bad. Like it is like kids like jerking off to his mom camming, and he doesn't know it's like his mom. It's like there's not a really well thought out setup in any of this. Like,
That's awful. Yeah.
he's like trying to get porn viruses on his little brother's computer to get back on his little brother for like pranking them, and like his thoughts just like, well, I'm just gonna like look at porn on my brother's computer.
Yeah,
and
then
that'll do it.
And that'll do
Yeah.
it. And like, oh, this one's hot.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
it's my mom. Oh no. Like,
So
yeah,
it's like
no.
a playoff, and like,
Yeah, fuck that.
I mean, this like you or I right now could brainstorm a better setup for like how
Yeah.
they set these skits up, and it is a little like jarring when you like go back and look like, oh, like this is what y'all originally started with. Like it is bad.
Yeah,
it,
that's
like,
bad.
It feels like a. And screw this dude, but like a Dan Schneider production.
Yeah, fuck Dan Schneider, dude. Cover up them feet, ladies. Like,
hide them toes.
hide them toes,
but,
girls.
just like of that quality, just like very silly. Takes place in a teen kid's bedroom, and
yeah.
that's where the bad stuff lies.
Yeah,
But
I
I
don't
think,
like that.
and like we've said time and time again now, the absurdity of Dennis Quaid playing a version of himself,
Yeah.
having Greg Kinnear, having Will Sasso, having Common, then throwing in all these stars in their ridiculous roles. Like
Yeah.
when you write it all out, like it's hard to like think that this movie would have a 4%.
Right.
I can understand it not being treasured as a work of art.
Yeah, this isn't going to be certified fresh.
But is it fun to talk about with your friends?
Yes.
Can you talk about the silliness? Can you quote some of the
Yes.
stupid lines from it?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it something to like you could get together with your buds, get real silly on a weekend night and watch it and have a good time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. I'm 100% gonna rewatch the Veronica one because it's just
It's
like
so
that.
good,
The
yeah.
acting, like that, is the peak of the acting in the
If
entire
anything,
movie. It's
after
so
this
fucking funny.
podcast, I do recommend watching the Veronica sketch and the
Yes.
homeschooled sketch.
Yeah, if you only watch a couple sketches or like any of them, those are the two that you have to see.
And the actors and all those are all very
Blind
hot
Date.
right now.
I'll say Blind Date, the Hugh Jackman one. Watch that one just because how absurd it is, and like that's what started the whole thing. If you watch that one first, and you're like, all right, this ain't bad, just watch the entire movie.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you're like, fuck that one, then just watch Homeschool and Veronica, and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
and you didn't miss out
exactly.
too much. But like, it's worth watching. It's good.
It's not like terribly long. It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's not
like,
long at all.
Yeah.
Like I think the longer version is the Dennis Quaid one, and that's an hour and like 35
34,
minutes.
35,
Like like
so.
it's like not. It's a really easy watch. It'll be over, and you'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
I laughed. I laughed a lot. Yeah, like it's over now. Great. Well, thank you so much for being here again.
been
Glad
an
we
honor.
were able to make this happen
Yeah,
in person. Like,
absolutely.
the fact that lined up was fucking awesome. Like, and
Absolutely.
I'm so happy
It's been a
about
treasure.
that. What I gotta do? Outro stuff. Follow me on Instagram and all that stuff. Buy Liquid IV. Like, yeah, that'd be great. The ads at the beginning. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're out.
All right, nerds. Till next time.
Bye.